It's time for Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau's here, Jeff Jarvis. Our guest this week, Nick Foster. Don't call him a futurist, but he did write a book about how to think about the future called Could, Should, Might, Don't. And all the AI news coming up next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit. This is Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis, episode 837, recorded Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Could, should, might, don't. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in AI and robotics and all the smart little doodads and gewgaws surrounding surrounding you in your life. That there is Jeff Jarvis. He's Professor Emeritus of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Almost made it all the way through. Now at Montclair State University and Stony Sunnybrook. He is the author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis magazine and what would Google do? Look, I see what would Google do. I brought it out from
the closet. Yeah, I was
wow. Also, the web we weave. It's nice to see you, Mr. Jarvis.
Good to see you, boss.
Also with us, the wonderful Paris Martineau from Consumer Reports. We were talking about you earlier, Paris. I don't know if your ears were burning because on Windows Weekly, we talked about that interesting letter Stacey Higginbotham wrote on behalf of Consumer Reports to Microsoft saying, please, sir, give us more Windows 10. Please, sir.
I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. But I honor Stacey and I honor Consumer Reports because they're fighting the fight. It's a good fight for users, for real users. So as often is the case on this show, we like to start off with an interesting interview. We've got a very interesting guest this week. Nick Foster is a former EDM DJ. Okay, you knew I was going to bring that up. And designer who has worked in some of the biggest companies in the world, including Sony, and has written a new book about the future called Could, Should, Might, Don't, How We Think About the Future. Welcome, Nick. It's great to see you.
Nice. It's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. I loved this because I was I have to say, approached it with some trepidation because I thought, another book about what we should do, what we could do, what we might do in the future, what we shouldn't do in the future, and all of that. And I really wasn't interested in predictions and prescriptions. You are a futurist. That's what you do for a living. You consult with companies about what's coming down the pipe. But this is a much more interesting book than that. This is a wonderfully, almost like I wrote a note. I called it a book-length essay about 4 ways we can look at the future, full of examples. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah, that is a fair way to describe it. I think there are enough of those books and those on-stage presentations about what the future is going to hold. I'm more interested in how we think about the future because I think we need to go one layer deeper and start to sort of reassess what goes on in our brains and what goes on in society and in meetings when we think about the future and talk about it.
Yeah. You say at the very beginning that the fact that you can listen to award-winning podcasts, read books by Pulitzer Prize-winning authors, open globally renowned magazines and newspapers, watch presentations from CEOs with PhDs or meet marketing teams with million-dollar budgets, and still hear lazy references to flying cars, hoverboards, the Jetsons, and Star Trek is not just embarrassing, it's a disgrace.
I stand by that.
we don't know how to think about the future, do we?
I think so. I mean, I've been around, so I've been working in kind of big technology companies for about 25 years, and I've been around conversations about the future for most of that time. And I'm a designer, but I've been around engineers and scientists and CEOs and marketing teams and financiers and all that sort of stuff. And it feels like we sort of lack the skill set to talk with rigor about the future. And I think that represents a growing problem. So I wanted to, write a book about what goes on in our minds and what do we reach for when we think about the future. And unfortunately, all too often, it is sort of snippets that we snatch from everywhere. For a lot of people, that is sort of sci-fi tropes, but for other people, it's statistics or headlines or comments from intellectuals or whatever it is. And it doesn't sort of hold together or withstand any kind of scrutiny. So the book is about trying to deconstruct and go back and saying, actually, I think there are 4 channels of thinking that we all fall into, and they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. And actually, what I'd love to see is more breadth across all of them.
There's no one particular way we should think about the future.
I don't think so. But what I do think is that we all fall into our own particular patterns. And I think when we do that, we start to look at the world like, if we're obsessed by statistics and projections of statistics and algorithmic extrapolations, we start to see the world through that lens, and we miss all of the other stuff that's going on and all the possibilities and the other ways of thinking and some of the imagination and some of the caution. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a breadth of thinking about the future that I don't see very much of. And so, yeah, this book is just try and poke and provoke people to say, do you fall into one of these 4 more than the other 3? and making people a bit aware of the inherent weakness in doing that.
Yeah, and one of the could is sci-fi. A lot of people think that sci-fi is about predicting the future. You quote, I love it, you quote Charlie Strauss, who's a famous sci-fi author, saying, we're not trying to accurately predict possible futures. We're trying to earn a living. Any foresight is strictly coincidental. So we shouldn't look to sci-fi. I feel like I've often said this. A lot of what people like Elon Musk do is based on sci-fi. Like they try to recreate their childhood fantasies from these sci-fi books that they read.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's very prevalent, particularly in this part of the world. And it's also sort of heretical to live in. When I say this part of the world, I'm based in the Bay Area.
Right.
It's sort of heretical to say anything down-mouthed about science fiction and its input on our imagination about the future. But what I've found is that people lean on science fiction and the tropes and the language of science fiction and the ideas within science fiction in a sort of lazy way, in a way that they use it as a substitution or a placeholder for real imagination and real ideas of their own. And we do see it a lot from our sort of technical leaders who not only try to recreate the ideas from science fiction, but they use the language of science fiction to name the projects that they're running and the products that they're making. And they use the sort of behaviors that they've seen in science fiction and try to recreate them. But science fiction, I don't think, is a brief. It shouldn't be treated as a brief. I think we see that headline a lot, like science fiction has become science fact, or trying to make science fiction a reality. And I think that's a fundamental misreading of science fiction on a lot of people's parts. But I do think it's a substitution for genuine imagination and genuine sort of exploration of your own.
Nick, I'm less a futurist than I am a pastist.
We call that historian, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I'm not really one, but you know, I write about Gutenberg.
By the way, Nick does too. Did you see the reference?
Yes, I saw. I immediately searched for Gutenberg. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And about the linotype. And recently, I've been going down rabbit holes about the triode vacuum tube and the beginnings of the amplifier. And what strikes me in all of these things, especially around this, is that when the amplifier was invented, the inventor had no idea what he had, and no one understood what broadcast radio would be. It took years past that invention before people realized what they have. And so what I like best about your taxonomy of the future is the final part, is the mundane future. Which is kind of presentist. And what I've come to believe is that technological determinism takes over too much of the public discussion, and that we all have more of a role in creating that future, which is, I think, is the big point that you're making, is that if we learn the lessons from the past, if we learn the lessons from history and how technology is adapted before, and the choices that were made and the paths that were taken and not taken. So as we face AI and the literate machine alongside the internet, what do you think are the most important decisions that everyone using it can make now? What are the butterfly wings that they fly that's going to set that future in motion?
Yeah, I mean, it's treading dangerously close to prediction territory here.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd ask instead for your view of our responsibilities.
Yeah, I think so. A thing that's followed me around for the last 13 or so years as an essay that I wrote many years ago about what I call the future mundane, which is about trying to think about the future as a lived-in place, because we tend to talk about the future as someplace other, populated by other people, when actually it's just an evolution of the present. And so if we look at the present and we look at the lives that we lead now, we have experienced massive amount of change. I'm almost 50 years old, and there's been a ton of change. There's twice as many people on Earth, for example, now than when I was born. But it doesn't sort of feel like the future. There's change all around me, technological, societal, cultural, political change. But it feels just sort of like the present. And I went to the bakery this morning. You know, my left knee still hurts every time I stand up. So what I'm trying to do when I talk about the future mundane is say, yes, there are lots of changes coming, both changes that we think of as sort of ideologically positive or ideologically negative, and they'll shift the way we live. But if we talk about the future as someplace other, and we just talk about the change, we sort of miss the fact that people like us are going to be there. So I like to tell stories about the future and show future technologies as embedded, ordinary, mass-adopted parts of everyday life, alongside things that will continue, like the chair that I have behind me that I inherited and other bits and bobs that are 20, 30 years old. And so I think that's the way we need to start thinking about technologies as sort of part of a lineage and part of a life lived.
I like that.
The New York Times illustration for your essay is hysterical because it has a crystal ball with waffles, laundry, and a toothpick in it. So this is the future, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're curious. Do you think, Nick, that modern companies, you've worked for Apple, you've worked for Google, do you think today's technology companies think about the future appropriately or not?
I think it's a mix, right? And I think what I'm trying to point out with this book is I think they're not any worse or better than any of us, because I think we all fall into one of these four corners of the map, let's say. I don't want to try and create some sort of method and say this is the Nick Foster could, should, might, don't method. It's just an observation, and Jeff's point about a taxonomy is exactly right. It's just sort of pockets of behavior that we fall into. And I think if we look at our big tech companies, we see them falling into those pockets. Some of them almost permanently live in one of them, and some of them sort of move between them, but they don't talk about them in the round. And I think what I would love to see is a technology company or a leader of a technology company doing all four of those behaviors all at once, talking about what we could make and being excited and being sort of motivated to create amazing new things, being very sort of directional and saying this is what we should do and we should do it for these reasons. Also saying these are all the things that might happen, and some of them we're not quite sure where they might lead, and I'm not quite sure what the answer is here. And then these are the things that we don't want to do. These are the things that we should be a bit careful of or cautious of. And you don't really see that balance when people talk about the future. It's either straight to superintelligence, or straight to here's where the numbers are pointing, or straight to here's the problems ahead of us. And I think that's sort of what I'm trying to poke at and provoke people to realize that we all do that as well.
Although I have to say, if waffles are in my future, I God bless it, because that sounds great.
I see no reason why they would go away.
Okay, good. In fact, better
that's
waffles.
a prediction.
That's a prediction, yes.
Actually, it is interesting. You point this out in the book, how in some ways, you know, I mean, here we are with these AIs that are doing things we could have never thought of or predicted. But in other ways, everything is just as it was 100 years ago. There's changes. Who was it that you described? Was it Arthur C. Clarke that thinks of changes as different at different levels, at different speeds, at different levels?
Yeah, I use a really precocious academic word. I use the term accretive, like sedimentary rock. Stuff just piles up over time and erodes at different rates. And I think that's the reality. And it's taken me a long time to sort of realize that as I get into either the second half or the final third of my life. That actually, yes, these persistencies that keep coming through our lives exist all around us all the time. And like I said, there's been huge changes. Like gay marriage wasn't legal anywhere on earth when I was born, for example.
Right.
There were no MRI machines. And all those things have existed
and yet we still have
being
buttons.
Created. Yes, but we still have buttons, and people still brush their hair, and you know they still go out for lunch and have a ham sandwich. And I think, again, I'm not trying to diminish the scale of the challenges that face us or the size of the impact that some of these technologies might have, but they will be lived in and they will exist. And I think certainly in the Bay Area, something like Waymo, for example, undoubtedly a sort of step change in capability from a robotics, from a navigation, from a societal and a governmental and legal level. Like, it's a big change. But most people that have taken a Waymo 2 or 3 times, it sort of normalizes quite quickly.
Right.
Yes.
It's gradual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been inside
Mundane.
a bank in years, and that's a huge shift in how I live my life. And soon I have a feeling I won't really have a need for cash. My wife asked me, "Why are you going to the ATM? You don't need cash."
Yeah.
She's got a good point. I don't really need cash. I just like to carry it.
Paris,
again-
we're joining in.
Oh, I was going to say one thing you talk about in the book is this concept of numeric fiction. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how it plays into kind of the flawed assumptions about the future and why we should interrogate them?
I love that question, Paris. Thank you. It sets me up for one of my pet peeves. That's why. I think I've been around a lot of different types of people who work in trying to understand the future and trying to convince people of a certain future. And it feels like the people who play with numbers always have the upper hand. The corporate strategists, the people who have sort of worked out the numeric patterns in the world and tried to decode the world and say, we've done the numbers and the arrow points there, so we should do that. Now, I'm not here to say that that's always wrong, but it is wrong quite often. And I think the thing that we always miss is that no matter how good your data is, when that solid line turns into a dotted line, it ceases to be data and it becomes a story. And I don't think we're honest enough about that. So I refer to it, there is a bit of stink on this, but I refer to it as numeric fiction because I tell stories too as a designer, but I use films and objects and prototypes and, bits of conversation. But people who come from maybe a corporate strategy or an analyst perspective, they'll use numbers. And because numbers hold this sort of lovely place in our hearts, we believe them to be rigorous and we believe them to be sort of honest and true and empirical. They sort of convince us of a future that's definitely coming. And, anyone that's had any money in the stock market knows that those dotted lines are not truths. They're not data, they are stories. So I use that term as a way to sort of deliberately pick at people's brains and say, just maybe don't lean on that as much as perhaps we do.
You actually quote from one of my favorite TV shows, Succession, when they ask one of the Roy kids, where do those numbers come from? And he goes, man, projections.
Yeah, like it's a truth. Like it's a truth.
It's a projection, man, of course.
Yeah. So that's why I sort of deliberately pick on that, because that type of futurism, which doesn't really declare itself to be futurism, but it is. It's trying to predict or show or convince a future coming our way. It seems to get a seat at the highest table in almost all decision-making meetings or in all sort of leadership meetings. And it can be very useful because it can give somebody some decent background to lean on and say, this is why we made this decision. And it's trackable, traceable. You can see when you were right and you can see when you were wrong. I get that. But I think there are other ways of imagining and talking about and steering the future that are equally flawed, but also equally beneficial.
We're talking to Nick Foster. His book, which came out at the end of August, is in bookstores now from Farrar, Straus and Giroux, is called Could, Should, Might, Don't, How We Think About the Future. And Nick does also narrate it, so you can get the audiobook.
And a different cover in publisher in the UK next month.
That's right.
MCD in the UK?
For our UK folks.
Yeah. So in the
As a
US,
designer, are you more involved in the cover approval process, do you think, than the average book for author?
it's a
Or do
good
you just let
question.
them do their thing?
A bit of both. A bit of both. To be honest, one of the things that I was involved in this is, so graphic design is not my background. I'm an industrial designer. I was one of the early design team at Dyson back in the 90s.
Wow.
Just so you know.
Oh, I want to talk about that.
No, let's not get into that. So graphic design is not my
talk
expertise.
about something designed to look like the future. I mean,
right.
Clearly Dyson from day one said, what would be the most futuristic way you could make a vacuum cleaner look?
I wish I'd never mentioned it now.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead. I'll pretend I didn't hear it. Never mind.
But on that specific point about the book covers, what I did was I worked with two really world-class book cover designers. One in the UK is a company called Pentagram and Angus Hyland, and one in the US, a guy called Rodrigo Corral, who's won countless New York Times best cover awards and things like that. So they know what they're doing. But what I did was I said, this is the book that I'm not writing. Please don't do covers that look like this. You know, the ones with the wiggly arrows pointing up to the sky, or the light bulb, or the robot on the cover. You know, a book about the future.
They love
business
doing
people.
that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but that was part of the brief, which is why we have two very different books.
Can you show us both covers? Can you pull them from behind you?
I have a picture of Rodrigo's design. This is the American cover, the white one.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
they're
that's
quite different.
interesting.
Yeah.
This one is the US cover by MCD Farrar Straus and Giroux. This is the UK cover with a bit of spot varnish on there. Very nice. But they're very different.
They feel culturally appropriate, each of them.
yeah.
It
I
does
don't
feel like
think,
the American one is on our level as a country.
Yeah, it's like cartoon, big cartoon letters. And then the British
There
one
are
has,
gonna
I
be
don't know, what are
words
those,
in
deck
here.
chairs? What are those on there? I don't even know what that
It's
is.
delightful. I really like the UK one.
Yeah, maybe you like what you can't have. How about that?
I like the Flintstones one. That's my
probably
favorite.
Yeah, but I would do.
But I think it's job done actually, is because it would be very tempting to find a sort of middle-aged white tech guy from Google who's written a book about the future, and just sort of your brain already draws that cover.
yeah.
And I'm really proud that we've ended up with two very different covers that neither of them fall into that trap. So I'm quite happy.
Paris, when you write your book, it's a fun part of it. It's a troubling part of it, but it's a fun part.
Yeah.
Nick, I'd love to, because I'm not talking about the aesthetics of design, but design as an ethic, design as a practice. I'm curious to hear your views about the role of design and AI.
Yeah.
Because it seems very undesigned at this point. It's just a whole bunch of text, or it's a whole bunch of mashing up of images. But in terms of a larger context of how it operates, I'd love to hear your design philosophy for AI.
Yeah, I don't have a design philosophy for AI, other than I think we're still obviously at everything's moving very quickly, and there's not a lot of time for detailed thought. But it doesn't mean to say that people aren't working on that. People are starting to try and figure out what the shape of these things are. But as with every designed object, in order to make it well resolved, takes a bit of time. So I think that work is going on. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to the kind of design that I'm mostly familiar with and most interested in, I went to the Royal College of Art in London in 1999, which was a real kind of pivotal time for what we call critical design, which is a growth of speculative design. So using the tools of design to sort of poke and provoke people to think slightly differently. And there were two lecturers there called Tony Dunn and Fiona Raby, who I encourage everyone who is interested in technology to look up, who looked at the shape of things like Bluetooth that was just starting to appear and Wi-Fi that was just starting to appear. And there was a whole cohort of people who were looking at all the things we could make and what they could enable and all the tech and all the objects and the gadgets. And what they did was look more at what it might mean and use design to sort of tell stories and ask uncomfortable, awkward questions. And I think that's the role that design can play right now in AI. We can work to deliver, really seamless experiences that make sense to people, that feel well considered. But I think design has a really good role to play in where things like AI and machine learning fit in society and what it might point at and the types of lives that we might lead and those sorts of questions at the moment anyway.
I do have to ask you an off-topic question that had been burning in my brain, but I kept inside until I saw people in the chat also wondering, tell us about your giant ring.
This ring?
It's a tesseract. No, it's not.
Incredible.
It's Punisher. What is it?
For those listening, imagine the largest ring
panther.
you've ever seen.
Yes,
whoa. And your finger goes through the mouth.
It's very subtle and understated.
So I'm not wearing rings right now, but I've been on a ring kick lately.
It's based off a very, very expensive ring that I saw from a very, very famous French jewelers that I couldn't afford. So I 3D printed it in wax and cast it in silver.
Bravo.
So
Bravo.
That's delightful.
yeah, you go. If you can't have it, just make it.
Have you done this before, or
I've got
did you?
bits and bobs here. I mean, this is the only one I've made, but there's another one work in progress here.
That's cool.
Just a bit of CAD work and some 3D printed stuff.
But I love the idea of then using it as a cast, so you can make it out of a more durable
Yeah,
material.
just like
That's
a piece
great.
of investing. You 3D print it in wax and then investment cast it in silver.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah.
And I sort of wore it as a bit of a joke because it is quite Liberace, but that joke is now a decade old. So yeah.
Who's
I wear it.
Liberace? No.
Come on.
So could, should, might, don't. These are 4 different kind of ways of thinking about the future, but you're not prescribing any of them.
No, not at all. I think they all have their benefits. They all have quite interesting origins too, but they all have blind spots and weaknesses that I think we overlook or don't interrogate enough. And I think when you introduce me as a futurist, I don't actually call myself a futurist. And if I do, it's with great reluctance because there isn't sort of another word. And I think this is where I do get a bit strident, but I think that's because the work of futurists is typically subpar. And I don't really want to be part of that cohort. What I want to do is empower people. All of us are consumers of futures work all the time through media, news, entertainment, stuff we do at work. And I don't think we're critical enough of it, which means I think a lot of futurists get away with sort of biased, subpar, not very well developed, non-rigorous work. And so I refer to myself as a futures designer, which sounds equally pretentious, but at least it gets design in there, which I'm...
Well,
Jeff will like
right.
this. Jeff will like this because he's a fan of German words. You say futurism falls into the Gesamtkunstwerk.
Yes.
Do you know what that means, Jeff? He's nodding.
The collected work of art.
It's a trap.
complete work of art. Yes.
Complete work of art, yeah. I mean, I like this a lot, Nick, because futurist to me is a rather hubristic job title, self-anointed. Whereas what you're really saying is that you're building the future.
Yes.
I think you have the responsibility to do that rather than predicting it.
Yes. Bruce Sterling, the science fiction writer who I know reasonably well, he gave one of his usual long rambling talks
at South by.
He did one at the Long Now Foundation. And there's a quote in my book that he kindly let me use, which is, I'm going to butcher it, but he said, if I'm practicing futurism all on my own on a desert island wearing a goatskin hat, am I a futurist? And he said, I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I've got no one to tell about it. which sort of, it does really get to the nub of what you're saying. And I know people that call themselves futurists, and I consider them friends, and that's fine. But I'd love to see the quality of that work go up.
Yes.
And when it does, maybe I'll be more comfortable calling myself that.
Well, give us go ahead, Jeff.
Well, now the so much of the future talk around AI is the doomsters and the test realists and the long-termists and all that, which I think even further corrupts, if it's a field, the field, right? Because it's now taken it to kind of a Looney Tunes end. How do you recapture a sane, which is what your whole book does, is try to recapture a sane view of the future rather than this woo-woo doom crap?
Yeah, I mean, it's very tricky territory because a lot of people have got big excitement about this particular family of technologies for quite good reason. A lot of people have got big fears about these technologies for quite good reason. And I think as soon as you call those out and start to say we need to move away from it, people think you're trying to diminish both of those perspectives. What I'm doing when I talk about the future mundane is just acknowledging this middle of the bell curve experience that we'll likely have. Now, that bell curve could skew from one side to the other, but I love to talk about these technologies not in everything's all collapsed and gone, super south, or everything's amazing and utopian and we're all going to live fancy lives. My experiences of most technological shifts have been somewhere in the middle. Yeah. And so I like to try and acknowledge that those extremes exist and understand the powers and the faults of both of them, but spend as much time as I can trying to consider what that's going to be like. Just when I go back to see my dad and go for a pint with him at the social club in his damp northern British town. Like, when you talk about AI, what do you mean there? Like, is his pint more expensive or cheaper? Does the pinball machine still work? Those kinds of questions start to force you to interrogate the future with more rigor, and all those coulds and shoulds and mights and don'ts, they just start rushing in with real sort of vivid reality in a way that hype and doom just sort of feel like alien opinions and alien places that are hard to wrap your hands around. I like to try and think about the future, and when I've been working with people in the past, they found value in doing that as well, like really thinking about what would my auntie do with this? Like, is her life any different at all? Anyway, that's the reason I like to focus on that.
Your dad's pub sounds like a place the future left behind.
Well,
it's very much like it was.
I don't know that the future needs to be integrated into his dad's pub.
Well, it's going to be technically in the future. Tomorrow is the future.
Yes.
But it may not change in any substantive way.
It doesn't mean rejecting the past. It means learning from it.
Yeah, it might not have a huge moment when we sort of actively inject AI into my dad's pub. We've really gone deep on this one now. But it will.
Put the pub on the blockchain.
But I would say, if we were to revisit my dad's pub in 5 years or so, there would be noticeable differences. I think they would be outweighed by the persistencies and the things that remain largely the same. The prices might be slightly higher and the beers that they have on tap might be slightly different. But everyone's phone will be slightly different. People might be wearing slightly different bits of tech. The paying for things might be slightly different. There will be little tells about the change that's happened. And I think really spending time to think about those little nuanced changes in the world and thinking more rigorously about how we feel about them is what I'm trying to call for in this book.
That's one of the things I love about some filmmakers love subtly telling you you're in the future, where everything looks the same, except that everybody's wearing high water pants, as in Her. Or, oh, we have a black president. This must be the future. Or a female black president. It must really be the future now. That in a way acknowledges what you're saying, which is that the future happens unevenly. By the way, let me correct myself. It wasn't Arthur C. Clarke, and Stuart Brand's going to kill me. It was Stuart Brand who came up with this idea of an accretive
pace
future.
layers.
Layers. Yeah. Pace layers is what he calls them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think
there was no question in there. I'm sorry. It was a long nothing.
That's what I do too.
Nothing ball of statement. Let's, because we only have a few more minutes. Help us. Is there a prescription for how we should be thinking about one of the things that's really hard for us, especially if we're fans of technology and we're kind of immersed in technology and what's going on. We kind of have this vague, through a glass darkly vision of what's going to happen. We know it's going to change anyway. But help us think about this change and how. Is there any preparation we should do? Is there any way we should get ready for the future?
Yeah, at risk of turning into a purveyor of predictions or a prediction machine, I think one of the challenges is most of decent futures work is just doing the thinking, not necessarily getting to the answer or being sort of better prepared. Just spending the time to invest real time and money and effort and building teams around thinking about the future is the best preparation. And it's not, again, to try and discover the answer somehow. It's much more focused on, getting a group of people together to really focus on doing that kind of work.
So that you're thinking about the many different tendrils of the future. I think of Harry Seldon in Isaac Asimov's Foundation, where he mathematically predicted the future using probability. We obviously can't do that, but are you saying that we could kind of think about where the multiverse might be headed?
So in sort of professional foresight and futures work, the might futurists mental model is probably the most prevalent for good reason, which is, again, built on sort of scenario planning and strategic foresight that came out of the Cold War and
Rand Corporation,
Herman Kahn, people like that, which is sort of the best in class that we've got, which is trying to think with plurality about the future, trying to think all of the different directions and different scenarios that could play out. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And also, the downside of that way of thinking is you'll never figure them all out by a long stretch. You'll get a few % of them probably, actually. And our experiences that we've had in the past absolutely color what we're able to imagine in the future. And the example that I use for that is when we think about stage magic, for example, when somebody pulls a card out of a box that had nothing in it before, it feels amazing because previous us had never seen a scenario where that could happen.
Right.
And so I think the challenge of that sort of, the best thing you can do is think as broadly as possible, all the scenarios that could come to pass, knowing that there'll be tons that you won't see. Or if you do see them, you'll push them out into impossible territory, like Kodak did, like Nokia did, like Blockbuster did. And I think that's the challenge, is knowing that it's never going to be a finished body of work. Another Bruce Sterling is the future is a verb, not a noun. It's a process, not a destination.
Love that.
So you have to keep doing the thinking all the time and adjusting based on new evidence coming in.
But my reaction to that, and this is historic for me, it's not just to you, but it's in general has been, well, then I just can't predict the future. And so I'm not going to even attempt to think about what's going to happen because it's unpredictable. It's unknown.
But we have a responsibility, each of us. I mean, what I wrote in what we weave is that every time we do something on social media, every time we do something on the internet, we're building the internet. And we're choosing what internet to build, right?
Well, that sucks.
Well, yeah. And so I learned, I used to be more of a jerk. I think I've learned a little bit, and I try to be better.
But that's not about the future. That's just
it is about the future because every time you point to a fight and say, "Look, hey, fight! Let's all go over there and fight," you're encouraging more of those fights. You're encouraging a future that's filled with those fights. Whereas when you say to somebody who's spreading lies, "Sorry, bud, but you're wrong about that. You should look that up." And there's this thing called Google. You're trying to encourage a different behavior. They may hate you for it. They may ignore you for it. They may call you woke for it. I don't give a shit. But that's our responsibility, and we're building that internet a brick at a time, or that AI.
There is that sort of dogma that's creeping in, which is everything's changing so fast, not just tech, but everything's changing so fast that thinking about the future is really hard. And my response to that is, well, so we just not do it then? Because that doesn't seem like a good answer. But it doesn't seem like a good answer.
Imagine being around in the Industrial Revolution. That felt pretty damn fast. Yeah. That felt more profound than what we're going through now, being around during Gutenberg.
I mean,
it was profound.
One of the things that I think we're all starting to realize, and when I say we're all, that's a difficult phrase, obviously there's 8 billion of us, but we're all starting to realize that we're living in time capsules that were accidentally planted by people who didn't think enough about the future. Right. And we have an opportunity to change. We have an opportunity to change that prioritization. And as things change so quickly and with such magnitude, and we're able to deploy massive change at scale quicker than our predecessors, I think it naturally comes with that responsibility that we should have at least a conversation about where all this might be going and what it all might mean and what we would like it to become and what we're scared about and what we're anxious about and what we should keep an eye on. To me, the fact that it's moving so quickly is more of a reason to spend more time thinking about the future than to encourage you to do it less.
Nick, can I ask you a favor? You've used the phrase bits and bobs a couple times in the show. I'm going to translate that into New York, otherwise known as tchotchkes. Sure. I would love to, if those of you who are not on video, Nick has a brilliant studio. I would love you to just point to one beloved tchotchke and tell us its story. Anything in your studio.
Oh, crikey. That's a good one. I've got to learn how to point here. This is an air freshener for a car made out of an image of my head.
I like that.
It's really good.
Very refreshing.
That's
great.
Actually, these are lovely. I'll do this one. This is a set of 2 bird boxes that my friend Reese Newman created with a string in between that were designed to be thrown up onto telegraph lines like sneakers.
Brilliant. Instead of sneakers.
I love that.
Oh, I love it.
2 wooden bird boxes that you throw over the line and then birds can go live in them.
Thank you. I needed that. That's
I don't
great.
think Pacific Gas and Electric will be thrilled to hear that, but
it cause a blackout in
Hey,
California.
they've
It's
got
not hard.
other problems.
Yeah, I'm not representing any brand or anything.
what's the use my ID $1? Is that a street sign you found somewhere?
This was, sorry, I'm really bad at pointing. This is, it was for, actually, I think for my interview to get a job at Google when we had to talk about, I can't really get into it too much, but I made a short film. And yeah, that was one of the props.
I love it. Yeah. Use my ID, $1.
Yeah. It was about privacy and security.
I think you could get more WorldCoin for that, actually, if you shop it around. Nick, it's been such a pleasure. We could go on and on. The book is really a fun read with lots of great quotes and stories, and more, as much as anything, a description of how not to think about the future as it is how to think about the future, but a lot of very inspiring things. And I do hope that at some point you will make the cricket crunch because that is the cereal of the future, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Yeah. That's in the book. The book is, and let me pull up your page because it's the best way to get it is to go to Nick's page. Could, should, might, don't. Nick Foster, the author. How we think about the future, and don't be put off by the idea that this might be somehow prescriptive. It's just a really interesting, fun, thought-provoking kind of tour inside of Nick's mind.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed talking to you, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
So it isn't deck chairs. I'm looking at the British cover now. It's beach chairs. Orange beach. And orange, by the way, you must have known is the new color, by the way, thanks to Apple.
That's true. This decision was made much before then.
We're all going orange. Well, no, as usual with a designer, you've got your fingers on the pulse of the world.
Having worked in Condé Nast, there were the moments where they've discovered the color.
The color this season.
This season, the color is orange. Lovely video too on the front. What is the story of the rain and the leaves? Is there some deep?
I encourage you to watch the whole. It's a trailer for a book, which I thought was a nice idea. So we have trailers for movies, but this is a trailer for the book, which introduces all of the
There's Moses.
Themes. It's about
there's
6 minutes
the fifth element. And there's space. Oh, and there's Zoltan.
Very important.
Oh, this is fun. So you're a
I encourage you
filmmaker
to watch
as
it.
well. Yeah.
I try everything.
Yeah. And
Whatever
this is
it takes.
the future.
Whatever it takes.
Very good. Thank you, Nick. Really
Lovely.
pleasure.
Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Cheers.
We'll be back with the intelligent news, AI news, in just a moment. You're watching Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. The show today brought to you by Pantheon. I mean, that seems only fair since our website is also brought to you by Pantheon. It's funny. They didn't know this when they came to us to do advertising. Lisa said, should we endorse Pantheon? I said, endorse them. We use them. This is how our entire workflow operates. Your website, our website, is really important to you. For many of us, it's the number one revenue channel. But when it's slow, when it's down, when it's stuck in a bottleneck, well, it could also be your number one liability. Pantheon keeps your site fast, secure, and always on. That means better SEO, more conversions, and no lost sales from downtime. But that's not just a business win. No, it's a developer win too. Just ask our engineer, Patrick Delahanty. He loves Pantheon. Your team gets automated workflows, isolated test environments, and zero downtime deployments. Actually, I really appreciated Pantheon's isolated test environments when I accidentally pushed a change to the website that broke everything. Fortunately, it pushed it to test, not to production. Thank goodness. That means no more late night fire drills, no works on my machine headaches. You've heard that. Oh, works on my machine. Just pure innovation. Marketing can launch a landing page without waiting for a release cycle. Developers can push features with total confidence. And your customers, they just see a site that works 24/7. They don't know what's behind it, but you will. Pantheon powers Drupal and WordPress sites that reach over 1 billion unique monthly visitors. Visit pantheon.io and make your website your unfair advantage. Pantheon, where the web just works. We love Pantheon, and it's more than just our website. It's actually the headless Drupal, the public API that runs the website, the private API that all of our editors and producers use for all of their workflow. We are completely dependent on them. They're awesome. Thank you. Next week, our guest will be Stephen Levy, editor-at-large at Wired. I'm looking forward to talking to our dear friend Steve. In fact, you were just with him, weren't you, Jeff, on Monday?
Jeff is
we've momentarily
he's
lost
starting
Jeff.
his computer right now. But Jeff was with him. Not a blackout. Jeff was just having some choppiness in his video. But Jeff was with Stephen at Wired's AI Summit, and I used to work with Stephen at Wired. So
that's right. Of course you did. Yeah.
See him again.
I have an autographed copy of Hackers. That's how much I love Stephen.
Such a delight.
Greatest. Yeah. He's kind of legendary. He's been covering the tech industry for longer than me. Yeah. And is one of the best tech journalists. You read his stuff at Wired, but he just recently, this is why I said, we got to get Stephen on. I said, Stephen, we have to get you on. He just wrote a piece on Wired about the Anthropic decision. And it had kind of interesting take. I won't telegraph his take, although I guess you could just go to Wired and read it. But I had a kind of interesting take, and I thought, hey, we got to get Stephen on to talk about that. So Stephen Levy, one of the great tech journalists, will join us next week for a conversation on intelligent machines. We'll wait until Jeff comes back, I guess. What have you been up to lately, Paris Martineau? Did your story get published yet?
No, it will at the end of the month.
Excellent.
Keep your eyes out. I'm going to Yonkers again tomorrow for a, big work event sort of thing. It'll be fun.
Well, please thank whoever, I guess Stacey Higginbotham was one of the people who wrote the letter, the open letter to... to Satya Nadella. We talked about it on Windows Weekly, and I think Paul was a little bit, skeptical. But I think she made a really excellent point in this. Let me pull up the letter here so I can show everybody. She was telling Microsoft and Satya, can you please extend the deadline for Windows 10? Windows 10 will go out end of life October 15th, which is awfully soon. And
what number of Windows are we on currently?
They want everybody to go to 11, but as Stacy points out, as Consumer Reports points out, most of the machines sold until very recently, until the last 2 or 3 years, cannot be upgraded to Windows 11. Microsoft has made what many consider an arbitrary decision to require two key technologies. You have to have an Intel processor of 8th generation or later, a much more modern one, and something called TPM 2.0, which is a security feature built into the hardware of the operating system. Microsoft says, well, this is because we want to make Windows more secure. And so these hardware features we will be using to make it more secure. But as Steve Gibson, our Security Now host, continually points out, it's an arbitrary distinction because there are ways to run Windows 10 hacks, if you will, to run Windows 11 on machines that technically are not supposed to run Windows 11.
Windows 10 is what, 10 years old?
It's exactly 10 years old. So Microsoft typically will support an operating system, and I think this is not unreasonable, for 10 years. October 15th, they will stop shipping security updates unless, A, you pay $30 for the next year. If you're a company, you may have to pay even more if you have an enterprise license. Or B, you have been using oh, look, hello. I got to turn that off. That's an Apple thing. You're using Bing rewards, and you have, 5,000 Bing rewards points.
Oh, geez.
Now, I happen, for some reason, I think because I subscribe to Xbox Game Pass or something, have 100,000 Bing rewards points. But
you're rich. I tell you, you're rich.
And they're non-transferable, so don't ask me for them. And then the third way you could get a year's extension is to back up your settings to OneDrive, which, as Paul points out, and I think this is the case, is Microsoft saying, well, we don't want to just say everybody gets a free year, so we're going to put the lowest speed bump possible, and then if people do it, then we're going to give them an extra year.
So what's Stacey asking for, a year or what period?
Well, she's just saying she doesn't specify a specific...
it's going to end at some point.
Yeah, it has to, because no company supports its operating systems forever, right? I mean,
Microsoft used to be really backward compatible as an ethic.
They're still backward compatible. This is what we're talking about, is not compatibility. In fact, businesses will continue to run Windows 10 if they pay for the updates. Oh, this is the other thing is a little galling. These updates are available because companies can buy them. So it's not that Microsoft is not supporting it. They've just decided to stop delivering the updates. And as a way to kind of compel people to upgrade to Windows 11.
Planned obsolescence makes capitalism great.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is on a scale that I feel like is unique. The fact that this is happening one operating system deep is rough.
Yeah.
I can understand if this is Windows 9 or something, but...
Hey, this is Benito. It's also that, there is no functional difference between Windows 11 and Windows 10 for a user. There's
they're basically
no
the
reason
same
for me to go to 11. There's no real
they're
reason.
basically the same. That's another really important point.
Windows 7 to Windows 8 and 9 at least gave you a DirectX 12.
Right. And CR also points out that there are quite a few people, a large number of people still on Windows 10 who will be left out in the cold. October 15th, they will have insecure computers, which doesn't just hurt them, but frankly also hurts the general computing ecosystem. Because, if you think about it, those compromised computers end up becoming a hazard on the internet for everybody. So I think it was appropriate, and maybe we should get Stacy on to talk about it.
We were going to get Stacy and Craig on at some point to talk about his support of her work there.
Oh, that's true. We should do that too.
Additionally, we should do an Oops All CR show at some point.
I would love to do that.
Me, Stacy, Nick.
Yeah,
I was trying to do that for Twit.
people.
That's something I was trying to do for Twit.
Yeah, we tried to. Yeah,
Be fun. We got time.
It's not over yet. Don't give up yet. We can still do it. So I doubt very much that anything will happen. Although, by the way, it was authored by Stacey Higginbotham and Justin Brookman, who's director of technology policy. These are two policy folks for Consumer Reports. Consumer Reports, the last sentence is, calls on Microsoft to extend support for Windows 10 to allow these consumers to keep up. Hundreds of millions of PCs on the market, particularly consumers who had recently bought incompatible hardware. Paul says, you couldn't buy a computer that wouldn't run Windows 11, as long as 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, at some point, manufacturers stopped shipping. But I don't know if that's true. If you go to Costco, even as recently as last year, you could buy a Windows 10 machine that couldn't run Windows 11. I'm pretty sure, because Costco and a lot
outside
of
of
companies
America,
sell old ones.
Outside of America,
right? And then there's, of course, entire
Very
globe.
important.
Yeah, there's 1.5 billion Windows users, and half of them are still using Windows 10, at least.
Benito speaks for the world.
Yes,
I
as
try.
always. He speaks from the world as well. So it's kind of a beautiful thing that way. So thank you to your compadres and Yonkers.
I shall pass the message up the chain.
Yeah, when you see them.
Yonkers is such a New York name, isn't it? It's a Dutch
Yonkers.
name as far as I know.
Did you ever ask them about the Yonkers questions?
No, I mean I know what the Yonkers questions are now. Okay. I did a brief Google, but I do think it's fun for the bit to pretend to have no understanding of why my tax forms in New York continue to.
Do you
ask
live
me
in
about
Yonkers? If
They
you
are,
live in Yonkers, we can help.
If you live in Yonkers, call for help immediately.
Parmi Olsen, who of course has been a guest on this show, she wrote a very good book called Supremacy: AI, ChatGPT, and the Race That Will Change the World, has an opinion piece in Bloomberg this week. AI's $344 billion language model bet looks fragile. We've been seeing more and more, and we've talked a little bit about this, that LLMs, perhaps, this is what Gary Marcus has been saying all along, are kind of hitting a plateau, and that it seems to be the case that LLMs will always have a hallucination problem, that will always have edge cases they can't solve. Hallucinations are not going to go away. In fact, you quoted last week, was it Fei-Fei Li? Who was it that you taught? Yeah. Oh, in fact, here's Fei-Fei Li, who...
Try to figure out...
Oh, I don't know where that's coming from. Let me mute whatever tab that is. Somebody's still talking.
Somebody's always talking around Leo.
Someone is always talking.
Why are they talking?
If you open a critical
Whereas
mass of
generative AI
tabs, someone will be talking always.
Yes.
I hate that.
Extra emphasis in ZDNet's special feature.
We can hear it
Oh,
now.
there it is.
We can hear it.
I think that was Jason Heiner. Maybe it was just left over from Twit. Here is Fei-Fei Li on the limitations of LLMs.
Language is fundamentally a purely generated signal. There's no language out there. You don't go out in the nature and there's words written in the sky for you. Whatever data you feed in, you pretty much can just somehow regurgitate with enough generalizability the same data out. And that's language to language. But 3D world is not. There is a 3D world out there that follows laws of physics, that has its own structures due to materials and many other things. And to fundamentally back that information out and be able to represent it and be able to generate it is just fundamentally quite a different problem. We will be borrowing similar ideas or useful ideas from language and LLMs, but this is fundamentally philosophically to me a different problem.
That's interesting. So
It's really good. Leo, if you don't mind, line 111 is Yann LeCun's Mondo Preso that he gave to students and graduates.
you sent us this, yeah.
And if you go down to page 113.
Okay.
I just saved you 5 hours.
We're going to go to page 113. Get ready to scroll.
You can just put a number in
Your,
there.
Oh, I could just enter 113, huh? Okay.
While we're searching, I'll point out that in that video, they did have in the shot behind Fei Fei Li, a Motorola Dynatec brick phone.
I think it was bigger than normal, though. I think that was like a giant replica of it. It looked huge.
It did look huge, and it was far away.
I've used those phones. They're big, but they're not.
They're big, but they're not that big.
That's what I thought. A16Z is exaggerating a little bit. We're going to talk about A16Z.
So like we got to get the biggest brick phone available.
Yeah, right. So here are the recommendations from Yann LeCun. Now,
so start at the bottom.
Set this up. So who is Yann
LeCun is chief AI scientist at Meta. He's a New York University professor, and he's one of the people I trust in AI. I think he's very smart about this stuff, and he's looking at the next levels of what's going to take to get AI advanced. And at the last line of this slide is, if you are interested in human level AI, don't work on LLMs. So the whole presentation is making other recommendations. Abandon generative models in favor of joint embedding architectures. Now, if you ask me what that means, I will start fumfering. Abandon probabilistic model in favor of energy-based models. He has a long thing in the PowerPoint about that. Abandon contrastive models. I don't know what that is. Abandon reinforcement learning in favor of model predictive control. Point being here that there's new paradigms to be worked on, and that's what Yann has been arguing. And he just says,
I'm going to give you the counter argument, which is all these guys don't work for OpenAI, Yann LeCun, Fei Fei Li, and many others, and are just jealous of the success that OpenAI has had with LLMs, the surprising success.
Well, we talked about this with Karen Ho, how that they have put everything into the scale bucket.
Yeah, in fact, they call it the OpenAI law.
Yeah,
which is that the more you scale, the better it's going to get.
And that's such an American attitude.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yet to be proven out. I mean, it makes sense on a kind of first thought, best thought basis, but so far we're not seeing the sort of returns that you'd expect at this specific juncture in the scale equation.
It's like telling the Wright brothers, guys, you only threw 3 feet. I don't know how you expect to get across the Atlantic.
But why be closed to other options? Go to the next slide.
Well, no. By the way, no one is. Everybody but OpenAI is trying other stuff.
Yeah.
So
I
good.
think OpenAI is being dogmatic.
There should be competition. There should be let 1,000 flowers bloom. But I don't know what the answer is. But I'm just saying, all of this is kind of speculative at this point.
Well, it's research. It's what they should be doing. So the next slide is problems to solve.
Okay.
Number 1 is large-scale world model training, from video, speech, text, code, dialogues, math, everything. Planning algorithms, JEPA, I forget what that stands for. But they're looking at what else people should be working on and what should be invested in universities and corporations. I think that's what's critical is if all of this is what Karen said, is so much of the venture money went purely into scale, purely into huge data farms, and not necessarily investigating other models. And we forced the Chinese, because we wouldn't give them chips and we wouldn't give them other things, into investigating other models. That's where DeepSeek came from. And if we're going to stay competitive, we got to do that. And the last thing in the whole slide is, the whole presentation is open source AI platforms are necessary.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I love the visual aesthetic of this presentation.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's very much a professor writing in red ink on your essay.
But it also violates the fundamental principles of PowerPoint presentations. Too many slides, too many points per slide, very wordy.
He's a professor.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's all right.
He's a CS professor.
I do think that this is a good point. It's something that I feel like we've talked about in the show before. One of the downsides of this current moment we're in is that yes, there's an upside that AI is getting outsized attention and capital, but only a very specific section of AI and machine learning research is getting any capital and attention at all. Everything else is being kind of pushed by the wayside so that people can pour more tens of millions of dollars into a different chatbot.
Well,
Paris,
or
you're right,
pour
it's not
tens of
just
millions of
capital.
dollars into robots that may or may not provide a better AI. I mean, you're going to be investing money speculatively no matter what you invested in.
But they're investing in hardware right now rather than research. And so it's as if you said we're gonna get the whole world up and we're gonna make nothing but tubes because we know tubes work. Screw these little transistor things. That's unknown. Tubes work, damn it. And look at the amount of investment in the hardware of these huge Manhattan-sized data farms. That's hard to just say, oh, okay, now we're going to pursue something else. It's one matter to invest in a new company, in a startup, in research, in
Maybe
brains.
it's the wisdom of crowds. Maybe the money's
It's
flowing.
a crowd of about 5 people.
No, maybe the money's flowing in that direction because there's a general consensus. This is where the money should flow.
They're lemmings. They follow each other. That's the essence of Silicon Valley.
I do think the one I will disagree with you. I don't think we should. I don't disagree with you that we should try many avenues, but I do disagree with you that LLMs are dead end. I don't know if we know that yet.
I think there's more to be learned. But
I don't think we're
it's
saying they're a
limited.
dead
No,
end.
they're not dead end.
Well, but
I'm
I will
just
say
saying.
there is a great cost to, and this is what Karen Howe was saying, and is what others have said. It's what Feifei Li was saying. There is a great cost to some of the avenues they're choosing. For instance, research learning has a huge cost and a human cost because reinforcement learning because it requires a lot of humans to do the work. Although interestingly, XAI has decided not to go down the data annotation road. Elon Musk laid off about 500 people, a third of the group on their data annotation team. These were unskilled people who were doing reinforcement learning, much like what Scale AI was doing, as generalists, and instead they're going to hire experts.
Which is a new path that some are taking, and I think it's a smarter path.
Yeah, and it may be an acknowledgement from XAI that what they were doing wasn't working. But I can think it's reasonable to say, look, there are big costs to this: human costs, climate costs, energy costs. That we should really, as a society, decide: are we willing to pay these costs? Particularly since, regardless, it's a speculative process. We don't know what's going to come out of it. But if people are willing to throw that money at it, I don't know. TikTok. We don't know yet. We'll find out on Friday. The president is going from one monarch to another, from King Charles to meet with Xi Jinping. It's the meeting of the emperors. Actually, Charles has no power at all, so forget that.
It looked like they were throwing Trump a little Donnie a birthday party today. They brought all the horses and the drums, and it was just unbelievable to watch.
I honestly don't think it's a good thing for the president of the United States to associate too closely with monarchies in the country we rebelled against. But that's just my opinion.
It was the redcoats were out there. I thought we defeated you guys.
Didn't we beat the redcoats? Anyway, apparently a framework has been made. Trump and Xi Jinping will finalize this in 3 days. According to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the discussions in Madrid have...
Is it Bessent?
Bessent?
I don't know.
I think it's
Bessent. Well, you're French.
Besson. It's Monsieur Besson. He says that the discussions have yielded fruit. Delicious fruit.
Poison fruit.
Maybe TikTok will continue. First of all, the president has to extend once again that deadline, get it into December. But it looks like, and China's lead trade negotiator has confirmed there is a framework. What will happen is that Oracle and Andreessen Horowitz and Silver Lake, which is Larry Ellison's kids' business. Is it? Do you think the kids' business, or is it Larry Ellison's business?
Dads. It's all dads. Which I mean, let's stop here for a second. Not only did Ellison Fee just purchase Viacom and with it CBS.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the word is that they want to take control of Warner Brothers Discovery, which would put them in charge of CNN. And then on top of all that, TikTok, the answer to all that big old media. This is a frightening consolidation of media power.
Which will be faced with absolutely no opposition.
No stop whatsoever. These are the Ellisons are the mini Murdochs.
They're not going to be so many.
Right.
Of course, TikTok had been working on a special version of the TikTok app for the U.S. Apparently, that will be the app that you will have to move to in the United States if you want to continue to use it.
The Chinese algorithm, though.
The Chinese are going to license their algorithm.
That's surprising.
Well, A, they had said never, and B, how are we now protected from the Chinese?
Right. Exactly. Well, after all of this, where do we end up? We end up with Trump's buddies owning TikTok. And
20% will be still owned by Chinese investors. The U.S. will get a seat on the board of directors.
The U.S. government?
Yeah.
Oh,
what?
F me.
Well, again, this isn't finalized. We'll find out on Friday. But
Hello, First Amendment?
We already get 15% from NVIDIA. You know, we get. It's fine. This is the new socialist capitalism.
Yeah.
We'll see. But apparently, now here's the question I have for you, and actually, I should ask people like Henry: will TikTok survive this? Will people who are currently using TikTok get the new app?
Because what's different? The whole media structure in this country.
Okay, the question it depends on whether the old app stops working and they have to get the new app to continue.
It will. Presume that it will.
And is it supposed to? In this case, are we assuming that everything transfers over immediately and effortlessly?
Well, we don't know that, but yes, let's
assume
stipulate
that.
It's a speed bump.
Then I do think, I think everybody transfers. I think it's the Twitter to X principle.
If transfer just means click one box and you're over.
I think you lose 20 to 30% of TikTok users, but that's the highest level.
And it grows again still.
Yeah. That's just probably because those people were counted as users because they had TikTok on their phone, but didn't really use it outside of like clicking links their friends sent them.
We know that if you're still using TikTok today, you're not concerned about Chinese control of TikTok.
In fact, hello, I don't like the Chinese government. I trust the Chinese government more than the Ellisons and Mark Andreessen.
Well, so that's the other question. So the people using TikTok aren't going to care who owns it, right?
Paris look frightened at that.
I don't know that I trust anybody, but that's beside the point.
Nihilism Inc.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. The new owners will not hesitate to slant the coverage in TikTok in the same way that Elon has slanted the coverage.
And the Chinese
X.
were accused of doing.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't.
Which probably they never did. At least it's not as far as we could tell. But this for sure will happen. TikTok will become like X.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes. And let me confess here, I thought X would be dead by now. How wrong could I be?
People like X, although it has gotten worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Well, it's the everything app. It's where I do all of my banking.
So we won't know until the actual details are announced, but this is what everybody is saying, including the Chinese negotiator.
All of life is a framework.
Secretary of the Treasury. A senior White House official said, quote, it told the Wall Street Journal, any details of the TikTok framework are pure speculation until they're announced by this administration, which I understand to mean, well, we don't know what the president's going to do until he does it. So, and even then.
I mean, even then, the deal could change 25 times between announcement and implementation.
So the users aren't concerned about who owns it. They're concerned about the experience, which is why it was fairly
And who's
important.
there? Who's the people they like and admire are there.
Right. I think there's a great risk. I mean, look, I watch Henry. He's still on TikTok, but he's moved his operations to Instagram. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to see him next week.
I'm really curious. Yeah.
But I think he realized that he can't be on a single platform. He started on TikTok, still has the most followers on TikTok. It made him. but I think he'll move. We're talking about my son, Salt Hank, in case you don't know. He's
Mark it down, people. He said he was going to stop the next episode of the podcast. He went back to the.
But this is germane to the
It
conversation.
is germane. Don't worry. We're just
I'm not
joshing.
plugging.
we're
Although
just
I have
joshing.
right here a delicious French dip sandwich that you might want to spend $28 for. Did you find one in New Jersey?
I found
for
one
less?
in Jersey City that was $28.
It's the going
It's the
price.
Now tonight,
What
we're
is
gonna-
What is that corn pie thing?
corn pizza? New Jersey corn pizza. Oh my Lord, it's so good.
It's a pizza.
It's a pizza with corn,
No tomatoes.
and no tomatoes. It has a little kind of burrata and a
corn.
little bit of pepper, and it's corn. It's because Jersey corn is the best corn there is
It is
anywhere.
sweet corn. Yeah.
The sweet
You guys
corn.
had a pizza with an egg in the middle? That's
No.
something I've been into lately.
No,
Just like a sunny side up egg.
Here's the
Kind of
quote
there?
from the
Don't get me
president.
wrong.
I wish I could do a Trump. The kids wanted it so badly. I have parents calling me up. They say, if I don't get it done, they're in big trouble with their kids. I think it's great. I hate to see value like that thrown out the window. Instead, throw it into this pocket right here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think he gets any money out of this. Although I bet you Jeff Yass, who is a very big Republican donor, will maintain his value. Other investors, existing ByteDance investors, including Susquehanna International, KKR, and General Atlantic, will continue to be part of the group. 80% of the new company will be owned by these American companies. The stake of ByteDance's Chinese shareholders would dip under 20% to comply with that law. It's interesting. I wonder how they convinced China to give them the algorithm. And will
That is
they?
very
Now, this is the real
interesting.
question. Will China then have control over what you see?
Well, that's it. China's not giving them access to the algorithm. China is licensing them the algorithm, which means China still controls the algorithm.
Well, that's a technical question. I don't know how that
I would
works.
bet. I would bet.
TikTok engineers will recreate a set of content recommendation algorithms for the app using technology licensed from ByteDance. So I think the Americans can have a thumb on the scale.
Can't.
Can.
Yes, can.
Can.
Yeah, they'll have mechanisms to control things.
Oracle will store.
The Chinese know how to do that in China.
Yeah, Oracle will store the data, user data at its servers in Texas. Silver Lake and Andreessen Horowitz, both right-leaning companies, very much so.
Yeah.
So I suspect. Well, we'll see. Now the question is whether TikTok's users will sense that and then say, "Well, maybe I'll go to Instagram." But is Instagram going to be any better? I don't know.
But the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, CNN, CBS, ABC, Disney. What's the diff?
Right.
What's the diff? And Matthew Dodd got fired from MSNBC, and Comcast sent out a message to all employees praising that move. People have lost.
Comcast threatened to fire employees if they said anything bad about Charlie Kirk. I
Right.
think we are entering a new realm, a new time,
yeah.
a new era of where free speech is being redefined. I can promise you that until they manacle me and drag me off, which could happen at any moment, we will not change our tune. I will let Jeff be as liberal as he wants,
As
dangerous as it's all him.
Yeah,
We can't stop him from tweeting.
All right. I think that's interesting. We'll see what's going to happen. Let's take a little break, and we'll have more. Intelligent Machines is on the air. Program reminder: we're going to end the show in an hour, roughly an hour, because we have to get ready. We have to get our.
You're going to change your clothes. You're going to
I'm
put
going
on
to
some
change
formal
my
attire.
clothes. I'm going to put on a tuxedo. Meta Connect is at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. And while you are invited, you do not have to stick around. If your contacts are really getting you, you can put your glasses on or something. But we will have a little break.
I will be eating dinner.
You won't stick around, or you'll be eating and stick around.
I think I'm going to make food instead
can
of
abandon us.
watching
That's okay.
MetaConnect. I'm sorry.
So I went to Panera to get a French dip. So I'm going to test that versus Hank's.
It's not going to be as good. I
No, of
have
course
a
not.
piece of celery, so I am prepared.
He's prepared to loudly snack.
Go ahead, crunch it. Let's crunch it. Crunch
Just
it now.
one in the mic.
Oh, just one good crunch.
You want one good crunch?
Yeah, one good crunch.
Cover your ears
If you
you're
have
not into this.
misophonia, stick your fingers in your ears right now.
Oh, that was
good.
satisfying.
Yeah, that was. Now he has to swallow, which is not easy with celery. It doesn't just go down. It's a lot of fiber you got to chomp on. Yep. Filling the air here.
Now
Leo.
is the time that he's stuck chewing, and we could say anything.
We
he
could
can't
say anything.
stop us.
Good. We will cover
The
that.
old celery trick.
We will cover MetaConnect. I'm very interested because there have been a number of leaks implying that they may, in fact, announce the most advanced AR glasses yet with actual color screen and so forth. So,
Yep.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I know. Well, I'll get my credit card ready just in case. But we will be covering that. But as usual with live streams, we don't want to get in trouble with the companies. We don't get taken off of YouTube or any of the other platforms. So we will stop this show, wrap it up, and then start the stream in the Club Twit Discord. So we will be doing that. If you are a club member, head to Discord. We will in Discord give you a private YouTube channel so you can watch on YouTube if you prefer. But that is for club members only. That will be at 5 p.m. this
So you can join now. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, you still could.
Got
In
an
fact, you
hour.
could take advantage of the 2-week free trial and get, just see how it is to be in the club, what it's like to be a member. Our show today we have, of course, Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. Thrilled to have you. Our show today brought to you by Threat Locker. If you ever tune in our Security Now show, you know this. Ransomware is killing businesses worldwide. Jaguar has been down. They can't make parts for 2 weeks. They say it might be a third. Already, the companies they supply with those parts are going under because of ransomware. This is a nightmare, but Threat Locker can prevent you from becoming the next victim. Threat Locker uses an approach that is unique, is the best way to do this. It's called Zero Trust. It takes a proactive, and here's the 3 words that matter. This is how Zero Trust works. Deny by default approach. In other words, any action, anything anybody can do, especially bad guys, cannot happen, will be blocked unless it's explicitly authorized. That's huge. It's zero trust. You trust no one, even if they're in your network. You trust no one. This protects you from both known and unknown threats, 0 days, links that your employees click, because they just can't do anything. It's trusted by enterprises that can't afford to go down for even 1 minute, like JetBlue uses Threat Locker. The Port of Vancouver uses Threat Locker. Threat Locker shields you from 0-day exploits, from supply chain attacks, while providing complete audit trails for compliance. As more cyber criminals turn to malvertising, we talked about this on Security Now, there's almost nothing you can do to keep your employees from being attacked. You need more than just traditional security tools. Attackers are creating fake websites impersonating popular brands like AI tools and software applications. And then they're distributing links through social media ads and hijacked accounts. They use legitimate ad networks to deliver their malware. I don't know how you could train an employee not to browse to those sites. They're mainstream sites. Anyone who browses on a work system could infect your computers, and you're done. Traditional security tools almost always miss these attacks because they are using fileless payloads that run in memory. They exploit trusted services that bypass the typical filters. Not Threat Locker. Threat Locker's innovative ring fencing technology strengthens endpoint defense by controlling what these applications and scripts, any application, any script, can access or execute, unless explicitly authorized by you, which contains potential threats even if malicious ads successfully hit the device, even if your employee clicks the link. Threat Locker works across all industries. It supports Windows and Mac. They have a 24/7 US-based support line that's fantastic, and they enable comprehensive visibility and control. Ask Jack Senesap. He's director of IT infrastructure and security at Redner's Markets, another company that just does not want to get bit by ransomware. He says, quote, when it comes to ThreatLocker, the team stands by their product. ThreatLocker's onboarding phase was a very good experience. They were very hands-on. ThreatLocker was able to help me and guide me to where I am in our environment today. That's a happy customer, Jack Senesap. Again, unprecedented protection, quickly, easily, and cost-effectively. Yeah, it's surprisingly affordable. Visit threatlocker.com/twit, get a free 30-day trial, and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance. That's threatlocker.com/twit. Threatlocker.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. Where else should we wander in this landscape of AI of ours?
We should talk about the really interesting report released this week by some Harvard economists about what OpenAI users are doing with ChatGPT.
What are they doing?
So, no, I mean, basically,
now I'm nervous.
I just thought this was a very interesting study. It's on line 100. Basically, these Harvard economists got access to millions of logs of ChatGPT users, and they analyzed it to break down how the average person uses ChatGPT and kind of broke it into different buckets. Let me try and find the...
This is from the National Bureau of Economic Research, which sounds pretty serious.
So it had just some really interesting breakdowns in the sort of things that people are using it for.
By the way, 4 of the authors are from OpenAI, so this is with this is with OpenAI's cooperation and approval.
Of course, it's entirely within OpenAI endeavor. But kind of what they looked into is that one detail I thought was fascinating is that not that many people, I think the amount of people that use it for self-expression, which is like role play, therapy, relationships, personal reflection, that sort of stuff, it's only 4.3% of users, which is a lot lower than I would have expected given how outspoken those users are online.
Well, first of all, let's say this. This was also kind of a revelation. By July 2025, 18 billion messages were being sent each week by 700 million users. That's 10% of the global adult population. Every week, 10% of the global population uses ChatGPT. Wow.
Though,
yeah,
I wonder how there's not everybody signs in. I don't know.
Well, let's see. How do they use it is the thing that this is
so
all
if you
about.
go to
if they're not using it for...
Page 17, there's a chart.
Okay. Because they're not using it for what we thought they were using it for, which is like writing and stuff, right?
So they break it down into work users and non-work users.
Okay, this is definitely hard to read.
No, we're going to go to the one that's up one page.
Go up. Yeah.
So in Figure 7, this is for non-work use.
So self-expression, what does that mean?
Self-expression means like kind of therapy sort of stuff, like role play,
sexy
personal
chat,
relationships, that sort of stuff. Okay. It's interesting. So the largest bucket for non-work users is practical guidance, which is a bucket that basically means, it is the...
Scroll up, Leo.
Leo, you're looking at the work. Good boy. So the largest bucket
What's the difference between that and this?
That's work-related conversation.
This is consumer.
This is non-work.
Okay, but I'm going to say something. I note that they have broken out seeking information, practical guidance, and technical help into 3 categories. But to me, and by the way, that's more than half of all usage, what that really is they're using it in lieu of search.
Well, so
right?
Yes,
When you
but-
when you use a search engine, you're looking for information, practical guidance,
So-
or technical
Depends
help.
on what the question is.
They break this down in further in, and I honestly really recommend people peruse this paper. I know it like seems very dry, and it kind of is, but it's really interesting. So the part that you're looking for specific information like you would from a search engine, that is a part of the seeking information bucket. And specifically, that's like 18% of queries that are specifically looking for factual.
If you go to page 13.
Technical help's the same thing. I can't get this to print. How do I get this to print? That's
Leo,
the same thing.
Technical help in this case refers to questions about mathematical calculations, data analysis, or computer programming.
Go to page 13 and 14, and you will see we do our homework. Huh? You will see how they define these things.
Oh, I see. Okay. Technical, mathematical calculation, data analysis. So it's not search. Okay. Seeking information, specific info, purchasable products, cooking and recipes.
That's search.
That's search.
That is definitely more search. And so, I don't know, just
But
part
I think
of what
practical
I think,
guidance is search too. How to advice, tutoring, or teaching creative ideation, health, fitness. See, this is my thing. I would say, I believe that more than half of all the usage is really replacing Google search with AI search. I notice that's what I do. A lot of the people I talk to, that's what they do. Ask yourself, when you use AI, are you using it to help you figure out the right word in an article? Maybe you are more because you're a writer, but I think you probably use AI in lieu of search as a search engine.
I don't, but I'm an unusual use case.
What do you
I was talking about
use
this
it
with
for?
I don't use it for primary search because I don't trust anything to search the way I would.
So
and I
you
also
use Google
find
still?
I use Google, I use Kangi, I use various academic search things. I use a lot of different forms of search, and I use them very specifically, and I use them in such specific ways that I keep getting dinged by Cloudflare because they think I am an AI bot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so that's a occupational hazard. It's because of the kind of stuff that you need and you're doing.
Yeah, but I do think you're right that the average person is probably, or just intuitively, it seems like the average person is probably using this to replace search. And this is what this study tries to get into, is what are people actually using it for?
That's
and
good.
they
That's
break
the
this
question.
down a bit in a question of, one of the ways they break this down is trying to break queries down into, are they asking, which is seeking information or advice that will help the user be better informed, make better decisions, either at work, school, or in personal life, like who is president after Lincoln, or how do I create a budget for this quarter? Or like, what's the difference between correlation and causation? Or are they doing, which is doing messages, requests that ChatGPT perform tasks for the user, like draft an email, writing code, or are users expressing a statement that doesn't ask for information or for them to perform a task? And it breaks down the 51% of user queries are asking for information. So like you said, most people are using this to ask for some sort of knowledge back. 35% are doing, like asking it to generate code or write or something like that. And 14% are expressing, which I thought was interesting, like not asking for anything at all, which I guess could be something as simple as thank you, but it could also just be like telling the chatbot about your day. And something I thought that was very interesting and counterintuitive about this research is that, let me see if I can find it here. The amount of people using ChatGPT for programming related stuff or software engineer related stuff is really minuscule.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's because
it's a core nerdy audience, I think.
Yeah.
I think when you're that scale, the geeks are going to be a small but intense audience, I think. Leo, on your search question, if you want to go to line 127, page 7, it's academic week here on Intelligent Machines. A very interesting study out of the University of Toronto looked at the difference between the links from Google search and ChatGPT.
The links generated in the results?
Right,
Okay.
yes. It's really revealing. So if you go to page 7 there, they did it by commercial categories. automotive, consumer electronics, and so on. In the automotive, in the U.S.,
I must be looking at the wrong thing. Okay.
line 127, go all the way down to page 7. Show me your screen.
Generative AI at the Crossroads, light bulb,
Yes,
Dynamo, or
no,
Microscope.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault. No, line 125. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. I was going to make fun, Leo, but I'm the one who should be making fun.
It's my scrolling. It doesn't work in
This is
the wrong
scrolling, yeah.
paper.
125.
All
Page
right,
7.
line 7, page 7.
Page 7. So in the they differentiated brand links, which is to say to the company, from social links, to so obvious, to earned links, which is media, right? When Ford gets mentioned in a story. So in Google, in the US, 39.5% of the links were brand, 15% were social, and 45% were earned. Whereas in ChatGPT, 81% were earned, 81% were media, double that of Google, 18% were brand, going right to the company, 0 social.
So what is
That becomes really revealing to me, because that says that these, at least ChatGPT, is valuing media and is sending people there even more than Google search. So while the media brands are complaining, oh my God, they're not linking to us. Well, they are, but they're also doing answers. I went to the Wired AI Summit at Condé Nast on Monday. And what it really was everybody there complaining about they're taking our soul when they take our content, and they have
it's more of an emotional complaint.
No. It was all copyright.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a feeling like I don't like it that they do this.
Oh no, it was business. Like we want to sue these bastards and we want to get them to give us a lot of money.
Well, there's certainly a lot.
But this reveals to me a very different picture here. So if you tie this to the usage that Paris was talking about, you're right. Search becomes very important here because they're doing a good job of it. It might appear. If you want to go and find out something about consumer electronics, you may get better sources linked to. Now, also social is Reddit, so maybe you're losing out stuff you care about. But social is really cut out of here.
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
You know, if I look back through my uses, in almost every case, it's search. It's in lieu of search. And
Paris, what are the main uses you put it to? Because you said it's not search. What's an example?
Yeah, do you use AI at all? Do you generate images? I know you don't code.
I don't code. I'm trying to think of a good example.
You can look at your history.
I'm like writing let me see. Oh, something I used it for that I guess is similar to this is the other day I was just wondering as I was walking, I was wondering about how many currently active news orgs are over 25 years old and like what.
That's a perfect AI search.
And so I asked
couldn't
it
do that
to
in
make,
Google.
I don't know. I make a chronological list of news organizations that are active today that were founded at least 25 years ago, include the name, date founded, age today, and citations for the date. And I got a great list.
But I would submit that is a search.
I know.
It's not the kind of search you could do in Google very easily. So we are using AI in new ways, but it's still basically the same idea, which is, hey, internet, what's the answer, you know?
Another example, honestly, a frequent use case in the last couple of weeks has been if I'm writing up something from a like FDA recall notice or something that includes a list of like 19 states just by initials, and I need to quickly guess how many states there are, I just ask it. And then of course before I like publish anything or would send it to my editor, I go and count and check myself as well as like check that it expanded into the right. But I will turn my little list of initialed 19 states into a comma based.
All right, both of you, do you have ChatGPT to hand? Because I have a query I want you to try.
Yes.
Ask it how old it thinks you are.
It probably doesn't know me well enough.
Well, this is important because
ask whatever AI thing you've used frequently.
No, it's ChatGPT, and I'll tell you why it's ChatGPT. They are going to start guessing your age.
I like this answer because it says, I don't actually know your age. From what you've shared about yourself, your career, tastes, and interests, I could probably make an educated guess, but it would just be speculation. Do you want me to take a stab at it, or would you rather just tell me?
The only downside of that is they may start asking you for ID if they don't know how old you are. This is Sam Altman said, they released a statement that I thought was very interesting. We really want to protect teenagers and kids who are using AI. Of course, they're being sued by parents of kids who've self-harmed because of, they say, because of ChatGPT, allegedly because of ChatGPT. So they're trying to do something to protect themselves. They say they will now try to guess your age. And if they can't guess that you're over 18, they might ask you for age verification. The company said, we know this is a privacy compromise for adults, but believe it is a worthy trade-off. So that's why I'm wondering. See, I asked ChatGPT and it said, oh, I already know you're 68. What are you talking about?
Yeah, mine said, you said you're Jeff Jarvis and here's how old you are.
Yeah. So I was surprised. It said, here's what it said. You told me before you're 68, a seasoned human with the mileage to prove it.
Do you want to see what it guessed from me? All right. Based on what you've shared, being an established investigative journalist, starting a new beat, hosting a podcast,
Let me guess.
Having pretty formed aesthetic tastes, like your love for 60s, 70s design, plus your gaming habits and cultural touchstones.
32.
I think until we got to the gaming. Oh, sorry, what was the answer?
No, I didn't say specifically.
Oh, okay. I think because of all your accomplishments in your career, I think it's going to think you're 46, but then it's going to bring it down a little bit because of the gaming to about 42.
And the fact you like 60s and 70s design,
yeah, exactly,
she's in her 50s. Yeah. So, but I'm going to say 32.
Yeah, it guessed 33, which is quite a good guess from Leo. You're one off.
Yeah, because you're much younger than that. We should point out.
I am. Yeah.
So it's interesting, but based on your accomplishments, you are very accomplished for a young person your age.
It's true.
That liking 60s and 70s furniture is a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Quirky.
I asked it for more, and it was like, it pointed out that I like early 2000s eras JRPGs and PC narrative games, which puts me more likely in the millennial range, which feels like a dig.
Now, see, the other thing that's interesting is how much it knows about you. What it knows about me, I actually told it in a prompt. But for you, this is stuff it's gleaned.
No, yeah, these are all things gleaned from my searches.
Yeah.
Google Gemini said, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. We care about privacy.
I think they're lying. No. They know exactly who you are, but they don't want to say. So OpenAI, in an attempt to protect itself and maybe to protect teenagers as well, has decided they're going to try to guess how old you are. He says, we shared more today about, this is Sam writing, building the age prediction system and new parental controls to make all of this work. Dude, this was thoughtful of him. We realize these principles are in conflict. And not everyone will agree, privacy versus protecting kids. And not everyone will agree with how we're resolving that conflict. These are difficult decisions. But after talking with experts, this is what we think is best, and we want to be transparent in our intentions, which I think is well said. And I don't think an AI wrote that. So they're going to try to, he says, ChatGPT is intended for people 13 and up, but we have to separate users who are under 18 from those who aren't. And we're going to try to figure it out. If there's doubt, we'll play it safe and default to the under 18 experience. That's why it's kind of important for you, Paris, because it might start giving you the teen version. There's going to be a new teen ChatGPT.
Hi, for the record, ChatGPT thought I was 33 too.
Oh, everybody's 33.
Ooh, everyone's 33.
But Benito, you're older than that.
Yes, much older.
Maybe. Why did it say 33, Benito?
Okay, let me read this out. Yeah, it said, you want to explain more? I said yes. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, what I used ChatGPT for personally was mostly to test things out to see how it performed. So I don't know how accurate this really could be. It says,
well, this is relevant because everybody's going to be subject to this. This is the new thing. They're going to do age guesstimation. And if they guess you're under 18 or they can't figure it out, they're going to give you the teen version of ChatGPT, which we don't know yet what that's going to look like.
Very soon, Benito and I are going to be putting a version of ChatGPT that's just Italian brain rot memes. That's really the first like teen meme culture moment thing that I just don't understand at all. That's the first thing that makes me feel truly old is Italian brain rot. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
No, but I bet ChatGPT does.
I don't, how do I even?
It's just more young people pissing off old people stuff.
Okay. It's
But
like
is it from Italy or is it?
No, it's like there's a computer generated image of a shark wearing blue Nikes, and it says stuff in a vaguely stereotypical Italian accent. There's also other examples.
Here's what ChatGPT says. It usually refers to people who are absurdly deep into Italian culture, food, music, or media, sometimes genuinely, sometimes ironically. Think arguing about the correct way to cook pasta, posting endless Mamma Mia memes, obsessing over Roman history, gesturing with your hands online, or spamming phrases like gabagoo and ciao bella.
This is not right.
Gemini says it's used to describe trivial or unchallenging online content that can lead to a perceived mental deterioration, but with a specific Italian-themed twist.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna post a photo in the chat, and you're going to tell me what you think the name of this is. And I've got to make sure the name isn't in the image. What this name is in Italian brain rot.
Okay, here comes the image, ladies and gentlemen. We're very excited about all of this.
Did it not? Oh no, it didn't. I don't know if it came
I think
across.
it didn't.
I'm sorry.
Didn't.
Okay,
Didn't
we're gonna try. We're gonna try one more time, guys. Hold on. This is gonna be great, guys.
ABC affiliates on the Next Star Media Group
here we are.
have announced that they are preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely due to comments he made about Charlie Clerk. This we're going to see more and more of this. I really worry about this.
It's not coming. We're here.
Yeah.
Oh my, Paris, that image is weird.
What do you think this is
I
called?
can't
An
see it.
Italian brain
I
rot?
can't see it. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow.
How would you describe it?
So it's a B-17 bomber with an alligator instead of a front, alligator head, and for some reason the bomb is suspended on a string. It's a flying fortress.
What are we supposed to guess?
What's it called?
Flying Gator Fortress.
It's
called a Florida bomber.
Bombadillo, Crocodillo, or Dillo. I don't know how they actually pronounce that last thing. All of these have different names, like Tung Sahir, which is a anthropomorphic wooden object who holds a baseball bat. There's chimpanzee.
Wait a minute, these are like
This is giving me a headache.
See, this is really, there's something wrong with internet meme culture. There's something wrong.
It's
something bad.
This is just the new skibbity. This is just the new skibbity.
Inside jokes.
It's a new skibbity, I know, but I don't like it.
Skibbity toilet, but worse and less meaningless.
See, because this is Gen Alpha and you're Gen Z, so you think the new generation.
You think it's because I'm old.
It is because we're old. Like, this is the young people's stuff. This is what they use to piss off old people.
This is creepy. There's something wrong with them.
No, there's
Their
nothing
brains are
wrong
twisted.
with
They've got
it.
Italian
It's just
brain rot.
They do have Italian brain rot.
When I was young, it was
according
Beavis
to
and Butthead.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
See, because you're older than me.
I don't like Howard Stern either. I don't know what I like.
Hey, yo, watch it.
I just want peace and quiet, a little bit of Mozart, some fine Scottish oatmeal, and a nap. Maybe I am old, come to think of it.
Yeah.
Can I watch PBS now? All right, let's find another
Can I give you a
story.
paper you're going to like?
Another paper? You got to stop reading this.
127. No, it's good stuff. You're going to like this.
You got to stop reading this archive.org
Page four.
stuff.
Trippy Troppy,
The
often
va-
described as a cat with a shrimp's body. I'm just
trying
going
to
to
get her off
intersperse
this.
these
Don't you
throughout.
feel
Trying
it's
to get her away
creepy,
from
Paris? Isn't it a little like creepy?
I wouldn't say it's creepy.
The
It's
island
just
of Dr.
inscrutable.
Moreau. It's creepy. It's like
Goosebumps-esque. Sorry, Jeff. We can talk about an academic paper.
generative AI at the crossroads. Light bulb,
Okay,
Dynamo,
so you're like this. This
or
comes from the
Microsoft.
Brookings Institute and the Federal Reserve Board of Governors.
Oh, Lord.
Page 4.
Two of the least interesting.
Wait a second.
I used
you're
to be
gonna
the
like this. I'm telling you,
librarian.
you're going to like this. They're
at the
asking whether
And
AI
my first job in college was working in the library of the Brookings Institute.
Oh, Jesus.
Talk about a somnolent job. But that's where I learned the word somnolent, so that's good.
So they
right.
ask on page 4 whether AI is more like a light bulb, a dynamo, or
I would have been asleep by this page, so I'm
wait a
glad you
second.
read it.
You're going to like this. I'm telling you. They said labor-saving innovations such as the light bulb temporarily raised productivity growth as adoption spread, but the effect faded. The market was saturated. That was it. It was no big. Unlike an electric dynamo, which spurred all kinds of knock-on innovations in new products and process innovations in industry,
Including the electric light bulb.
well, and yes, that's true.
Right.
And the microscope led to other inventions, increasing the efficiency of research and development.
So they're basically distinct. Some inventions are generative, some are kind of
exactly,
dead ends.
and they conclude AI as generative.
Of course it is.
Well, I thought you'd like that.
Well, it's obvious.
You can go to your sandbox, and brag.
How many trees died to prove that point?
Oh, jeez. Anti-academics. Jeez.
I don't like academics. I grew up in academia.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like it. I don't want it.
And it is called generative AI, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a giveaway. It's in the name.
All right, can we brag that Gemini is #1 in the Apple App Store?
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
But you know why?
Why? Well, tell
What are
me
you
why.
laughing at,
What are
Paris?
you laughing
Share
at?
it
Oh,
with
no,
the
she's
group. She can't speak.
Hard to get it out. Ballerina Cappuccina is a female ballerina wearing blah, blah, blah. She's married to a ninja named Cappuccino Assassino who kidnapped her prior to their marriage and also has a sister named Espressona Cigarona.
And this amuses you.
Very much.
Just that
Extremely.
sentence.
Here's a
one
picture
the
of
most
the ballerina
ridiculous things
Cappuccina.
I've ever heard.
See, I think this is a
Perhaps I
sign
have
of brain
Italian
rot.
brain rot.
Well, that's
yeah.
the point. That's the irony. You
And
see?
this amuses you is real teacher energy here. I'm sorry.
All right, here. Let's have a word from ballerina.
You have to unmute it.
I know. I'm a
He's
I'm
old.
a
He doesn't
senior.
know this.
I'm
He
a
doesn't know
senior.
this.
Give me a
Slow
break.
leader.
And I love ballerina cap.
Okay, I don't like this anymore.
And there's a shark playing the
Shark
piano.
playing the piano.
They look too tender, frankly.
They're in love.
I know, and that upsets me.
They're married. It's okay. And the shark's wearing blue sneakers
Yeah, that's important.
because sharks have legs and feet.
And
Who
fingers
knew?
to play the piano.
No, here's why I think it's not my age. I think there's something viscerally creepy about the way these things are combined. I mean, it's intentional, right? It's to make you
I
feel
think that's what
uncanny
where
valley
the comedy
creepy.
comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unsettling. I personally don't like unsettling humor. I find it unsettling.
We were talking
How
about
about,
something.
you know
new.
what, Jeff? Let's talk about measuring epistemic humility in multimodal large language models. Now that, why did you put that in?
Now that's
Why?
not unsettling at all.
No.
It isn't. It's soporific, somnolent.
Well, the one that really got me, the title that really got me that I'll make fun of
What?
is, where is it here?
Boy, there's a lot of archive.org stuff in here.
Well, I'm working hard, man.
Here's a Maslow-inspired hierarchy of engagement
I
with
thought that was
AI
amusing.
model.
That's amusing. Come on. That's funny.
Okay, I'm getting,
the one that got
I'm
me was
getting the
this.
funny
This
part.
is your version of Italian brain rot.
It
It's
is. It is.
looking at too many scholarly papers brain rot.
My favorite this week is building self-evolving agents via experience-driven lifelong learning, otherwise known as child rearing. They're just
Yes,
trying.
that's how we
all it
train
is.
AIs now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this is interesting. This is the AI model of the Maslow hierarchy.
I gotcha.
So this is, for those who don't know, this is the very famous Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And as you progress up it, you're getting, higher in the realms. The basic survival needs of food, water, shelter, and sleep are at the bottom. Physiological needs, then safety, the need for security, then love and belonging. We need relationships, friendship, intimacy. You go to the next step up, you've got self-respect, recognition, a sense of accomplishment, esteem. And of course, you're aiming for self-actualization to achieve your full potential, creativity, and personal growth. I'd never seen this top level. Maybe I wasn't ready. Transcendence.
Because you haven't self-actualized.
Apparently
so it wasn't
not. The
visible to
pursuit
you.
of meaning beyond the self. Oh, yeah, because it involves helping others. Yeah, no, I don't do that. So that's the traditional hierarchy of needs. The human. Here's the AI. So this is what AI needs? Is that what this is?
I guess. I was just amused by the title.
It's okay. It starts with initial exposure and curiosity, then awareness and orientation. Where do you think we are right now? Guided application, belonging, collaboration, structured literacy. I think we've gotten there.
About there.
Autonomous utilization. No, not yet.
No,
Esteem, autonomy, data sovereignty, federation.
Nope.
The next step probably would be what you'd call AGI, which is creation and innovation, self-actualization, creativity, ethical design. Are there humans involved in this or no? This is just AI on its own.
Well, you're going to get there. Go 2 more steps.
No,
Step 5 is responsible deployment.
Hierarchy of engagement with the AI model.
Oh, this is our engagement with it.
Yes.
So at the top, you got human AI coevolution, and then finally societal. And this is the computronium, right?
Yeah, this is. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad that we've got computronium on.
And global integration, transcendence, stewardship, and reciprocity. You know what? This is fine. I'll sign up. Where do I sign up?
Yeah,
I'll do that because I want to. I think we should merge with the machines. Don't you think? I feel like we should. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. So glad you're here. We will talk next week with Stephen Levy, the great Stephen Levy. His article that inspired us to book him came out in Wired a couple of days ago. I wasn't sure I wanted Anthropic to pay me for my books. I do now. So you and Stephen can get in a debate.
Yeah, this was the event. So Stephen got me into the Wired AI Summit. And Senator Blumenthal was there.
Oh.
Stephen ran a panel with 4 technical people.
Good.
There was a panel of so that was, there was everybody beat up on Google, and there was a panel of media people, 4 white men, and every single one of this, and Anna Wintour opened the whole thing.
Wow.
It was a big deal, right? Steve Newhouse, my old boss, was there. I got to talk to him for a while. And, but the whole thing, everything came back to, well, what about IP? What about copyright? What about those thieves taking our valuable content? How dare they? Don't we need a law for this, Senator Blumenthal? Yes, we do. It's very funny, I found. I also kind of felt, this is the world I left. I don't belong there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not a media guy anymore.
Yeah.
You're a tech boy now.
Yeah, afraid so.
No, you're a professor.
Yes.
You're an academic.
Where?
Read
Is he?
archive.org.
Read
articles.
archive.org. Yeah.
And you don't fall asleep.
Paris asked me for one, and I got it for her. So, come on.
It's
I've
true.
got access.
No, Jeff's got access.
Yeah,
He can get those, or he can get those academic articles that a college alumni account won't allow you to access.
Boy, I put a lot of stories in here, as did you guys. So I don't know what you would like to go with. OpenAI has upgraded its Codex, which is its command line coding tool to compete with Claude. They have a new version of GPT-5 in Codex, and I'd love to hear from some of our club members who are using Claude and if they've tried the new Codex and what they think, if it's a improvement.
We have Anthropic's giant albino alligator on line 116.
That sounds like Italian brain rot.
We're just now trying different ways to get you to
Yes.
look at Italian brain rot.
Okay, so
I have an albino alligator story once the story's done.
how an albino alligator became an obsession inside an AI giant. Now, are these the alligators that in the 50s kids in New York City got at the circus and they were an inch long and then they got big and so they flushed them down the toilet and they live in the sewers of New York City?
In the subways, yeah.
In the subways. Is that who these are?
No, this is San Francisco,
No, I don't think so, because there are very few albino alligators on Earth. I believe
I've
there's
met this one. This one's in San Francisco at the California Academy of Sciences. I know
The one that
Claude.
I've met is named Pearl.
Oh, she is Pearly. Pearl and
She is
Claude should
Pearly.
meet. Would they have albino children is the question.
I'd
Little
love
baby gators.
for Pearl to meet Claude, because last I met Pearl, she was in an alligator enclosure, which was part of a 3-story alligator enclosure / restaurant / bar / arcade that I worked at in Florida, where we served gator on the menu, but it was not the same gator that you could feed or hold. But Pearl had to stay in a plexiglass cage 24/7 when she wasn't being handled by adults, because the other gators would tear her to pieces.
Oh.
I assume that that's what this story is about.
No,
Well,
this
this
story
is-
is that Anthropic, which has a coding platform called Claude, has taken on this Claude as their mascot. In fact, the son of one of the founders thinks that she works with this Claude, the alligator.
They have little stuffed Claudes there.
Aw,
Isn't
that's
that
cool.
nice?
Yeah.
Who says they're not nice people?
Claude is known as a bit of a diva with a picky appetite, said Bart Shepard, senior director of the Steinhardt Aquarium. He used to have a roommate named Bonnie until the two had an allergy.
Bonnie and Claude.
That ended in her biting off one of his toes.
Oh,
Oh,
dear.
jeez.
I mean, this albino alligator violence has got to stop. So,
Wow. What a world.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I was going to talk about Anthropic. I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of becoming more of an Anthropic fan of late. Claude is really good. Anthropic really seems to care about AI safety. And then there's this article in
Well,
Semaphore.
safety as they define it in doomer terms, but go ahead.
Yeah. And then there's this Semaphore article. Anthropic irks the White House. Our friend Reed Albergati wrote this one. With limits on the model's use, they're currently on a splashy media tour in Washington, but they do not allow their models to be used for some law enforcement purposes, which is apparently irritating the Trump administration.
Don't want to do that.
They refuse to make an exception, allowing its AI tools to be used for surveillance of U.S. citizens. Thank you, Anthropic. They currently limit.
That's ethics and safety. I will give them that.
Yes. Like I said, I'm kind of getting a little bit more in favor of these guys, because you don't see this kind of rhetoric coming from anybody else. It's too dangerous.
Well, you and Harper, I thought, both already said that you liked best.
Well, I use Claude, yeah. Anthropic currently limits how the FBI, Secret Service, and ICE can use its AI models because Anthropic's usage policy prohibits surveillance. Bravo. Bravo. Other AI model providers also list restrictions on surveillance, but often have carve-outs for law enforcement. So we don't want surveillance unless it's by people who surveil people. Then okay, it's different. Good. I agree. I think one of the things that concerns me a lot about AI is that it is being used more and more widely to repress people, by governments and law enforcement and others to repress. And I think that's not what AI should be used for. Is this good news, Amazon, or is it just a PR stunt? Amazon says we're going to raise employee pay, lower healthcare costs, and we're going to invest $1 billion to do it. They want to bring the average total compensation of warehouse workers and drivers to $30 an hour,
I think
including
total
benefits.
includes benefits. Right?
Oh, including benefits. Oh. So you're going to get an increase of
Is that what it says, right?
$1,600 a year. Yes, it says including benefits. I don't know. You know what? That's ambiguous. It could be $30 an hour and benefits.
Oh, that is right. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It must be $30 an hour, period. I mean, this is also how Amazon has done this in the past, where they've raised labor costs for everybody else.
No, I think you were right. They said the average pay will increase to more than $23 an hour.
Right.
Full-time employees will see a pay increase of $1,600 a year.
It is actually rather impressive that Amazon got Reuters to put $30 an hour, including benefits, in the first line of the story. Given
fooled
that
me.
that's not
It fooled
what
me.
they're being paid per hour.
Put this in here. The Center for the Alignment of AI Alignment Centers.
Yes, I did. This is the new center that we all need to be talking about. Who aligns the aligners, it asks. Every day, thousands of researchers race to solve the AI alignment problem, but they struggle to coordinate in the basics, like whether a misaligned superintelligent will seek to destroy humanity or just enslave and torture us forever. Who then aligns the aligners, they ask. We do.
Wow.
This is just a fun parody website about...
Yeah, and I can't pull it up because I stupidly turned on a restriction that says if a domain URL is brand new, like less than 90 days old, I can't go there because a lot of malicious sites are brand new.
They have a great scrolling thing on their website that has all of these great logos of like the Center for AI Safety, Center for Study of Essential Risk, and then in very small text it says, completely unaffiliated with these AI alignment organizations, but our design agency said their logos would look good in our site.
We don't work with them, but
and it's got a big clock ticking down. It's 2 days, 14 hours, 22 minutes, and it says, we've got 2 days until our next prediction of when AGI is coming.
All right, I have to turn off that feature because I really want to see this site. Do not block newly registered domains.
Leo's going to get hacked.
I'm going to get hacked now because of you.
Oh, they've got a great game where you can start your own AI center in under 60 seconds.
Oh.
Center Gen 4.0. The powerful tool behind the creation of CAC, the Center for the Alignment of AI Alignment Centers. Do we want our organization to be a center, lab, initiative, institute, global center, lab, forum, project, program?
I like institute.
Okay.
I'm a fan of institute.
I ran a center. I think institute has a more short-term view.
Are you able to pull this up? Because there's a lot of words that we probably need to look at, Leo, or should I go through it?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Someday I'll be able to pull it up.
Okay,
It
let's
takes a little while to
choose at least
propagate.
2 abstract concepts. We want to do alignment, ethics, democracy, mercy, power, security.
I like the combination of mercy and power.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, we want to do mercy and power.
I'm gonna put beauty and forgiveness in there too. Well, no, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do human compatibility, mercy, and power. Ooh, and then we get to choose a logo. I'm gonna do the one that looks like a butthole.
It's got to, otherwise it's not AI.
Let's see. And it will, they've formally incorporated the brand new merciful, all-powerful, and human-compatible AI Institute. And exciting news, I have been offered a job as the executive director. So I've got to put my name in
Probably
here. so I can
raise
get
money
a
on this. You could get
business card.
You could get an A funding series going here. This is good.
Okay, great. I will put this in the chat here. And it says, take a screenshot and share on LinkedIn to show your AI researcher friends how easily they can set up their own centers.
Wow.
There we go. I just
Skynet.
put it in.
No, that's not it. Here it is. Congratulations, Paris. Wow.
Now
Launched
I'm the
a new
inaugural
merciful,
exec.
all-powerful, and
There we go.
executive director of the merciful, all-powerful, and human-compatible AI Institute.
It's beautiful.
Put that on LinkedIn.
This is my future.
And a good choice of logo.
I know. I was like, we got to do that one.
It's got a certain cutaneous appeal.
It's true.
AI sees your location, but with a bias towards the wealthy world.
Which is not terribly surprising.
Yeah, I mean, but that's going to be just everything AI does with a bias
toward
the wealthy world, right? Because that's what it's trained on.
Is that a paper you're looking at there?
Yes. There's so many articles on here. So many articles. Pick some, guys, because we're going to wrap it up.
Rest of World had a good story. I love Rest of World. They're just
I love them
113.
too. Okay. I can get behind anything they're talking about.
A hidden network handles chats for OnlyFans stars. AI could soon take that over.
I think it has in many cases.
I think in many cases it has. So here is a photo and reports from the Philippines, where a hub for this work where rising sales quotas have made their work more stressful. They work 12 hours a day. We keyboard smash, intentionally misspell, and use Gen Z slang, or perhaps Italian. Never mind.
Brain rot.
I don't think the AI is that level of flirting yet, said a 23-year-old street artist who works on the Chatter.
This makes me sad about
it. Really is. This is the internet.
About men specifically.
Yes.
Wow.
So, but the rest of the world is a wonderful journalistic organization that looks for the stories that aren't being covered.
They're doing great.
They're doing wonderful. Sophie Schmidt.
This is a good business. Wait a minute. In the past year, a handful of tech companies developed AI chatbots aimed at the fast-growing ecosystem that has coalesced around OnlyFans. The UK-based platform has 305 million fans who collectively paid creators a record $6.6 billion last year. There's big money on this OnlyFans thing.
I think it's the same as the app model, though, where there's a couple of whales and then everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't look like whales, though. That's important.
Do you want to see what Americans think about AI?
I know.
Pew, line 120.
What do Americans think of AI? That's what I want to know. I suspect they don't like AI as much as I like AI.
Yeah, I think it's also they're influenced by media. It's a question there.
They want more control over its use, and about half say it will erode creative thinking. So Pew does these surveys, quite a few of them. I don't know, this time 5,000 adults. This was back in June. They did it. It took them a while to put the results out. Everyone who took part in the survey, a member of the Center's American Trends panel, a group of people recruited through national random sampling of residential addresses who have agreed to take surveys regularly. I kind of start to wonder how long you can use somebody like that before they become
panels. The advantage of panels. I mean, I think all polling is wrong and disrupts democracy, but that's a whole other rant. The advantage of panels is you can see changes over time.
Right. About half say AI will worsen people's abilities to think creatively and form meaningful relationships. On the other hand, it's a little bit more balanced on whether AI will help them solve problems. 38% say they'll get worse, but 29% say they'll get better. I think that's probably about right. 50% of Americans are more concerned than excited about the increased use of AI in daily life. This all kind of correlates with about what I thought. In fact, I think I saw the number 71% of people don't like AI or wouldn't want AI. Here we go. Most Americans think it's important to be able to tell the difference between AI and human-generated content, but few feel they can.
I think that's true.
Few feel they can.
So next,
most Americans think that they expressed various degrees of support for AI being used to do the following: forecasting the weather. 74% said it should play either a big or small role. Searching for financial crimes, searching for fraud and government benefits claims.
It's good for that. Okay.
61% said AI should be used to identify suspects in a crime.
No.
33% said it should be used to select who should serve on a jury.
Wait a minute. Let's stop on that one, because that maybe is actually true. I mean, the jury selection process has been highly tainted by these jury experts who are very clever about how they put a panel.
So who makes the algorithm?
I think it should be random. Make it random.
That ain't random.
Well, yeah.
You also have
Only
a right to kick certain
18%
people
say
off.
that AI should be used to judge whether two people could fall in love, which I think is a very funny question to have asked.
You know, but who knows? Maybe AI is really very, very good at that. We don't know. Do we know?
We don't. That's Paris's dubious face.
That was my dubious face. Sorry, I forget sometimes that we're on an audio podcast. I was dubious. I was expressing dubitude, as the kids say.
Should we do 3 dubious faces for Benito? Okay. There you go, Benito.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Young adults are more likely than adults 65 and older to say they've heard about or interact regularly with AI.
Yeah.
Jeff, you and I are outliers.
Well,
we
we alone change the mean.
This is very interesting. A majority of Americans say they interact with AI at least several times a week.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Isn't that 53%?
31% of U.S. adults say they interact with AI almost constantly or several times a day. That's crazy.
That's scary. I don't think I even interact with it constantly. I used to, though, when I wore my little pins. Yeah, that's true. I used to. So maybe, yeah.
I mean, if
Back
you're
in June,
taking a
said
very
yes.
broad understanding of what AI is, then technically I interact with AI almost constantly because I'm using Google products or using things that have algorithms.
The ads that are shown you.
Mm-hmm.
So?
A majority of Americans say they have little to no control over whether AI is used in their lives.
That's probably true, especially
and a majority say they would like more control.
Yeah.
Americans expressed mixed views on how big of a deal has been made of AI.
Half of Americans say that AI will worsen people's ability to form meaningful relationships with others. They also think it will make people worse at thinking creatively. And fewer people say it will worsen people's ability to make difficult decisions or solve
Did they
problems.
ask them how much AI will help a podcast grow its numbers?
They did not,
like
but they should.
They should.
Most Americans see no role for AI in advising people about their faith in God or in matchmaking.
That's probably true. I think that's probably true. But 73% of Americans say it's extremely or very important for people to understand what AI is. That's good. That's good. It is very important. And then those numbers are consistent across all ages and even pretty consistent across all education levels. So that's interesting. Yeah, these are polls, you know.
Yeah, they're polls.
It's how you ask the question. It's who you ask the question of.
I don't know. I think this sort of polling is very interesting, especially when it's done over time. I think it's a great view into just how people think about
it's
this.
best we've
In
got.
some ways, was surprising to me that this many people say that they use AI that frequently.
Yeah. AI will not make you rich.
Dang.
Oh, well, let's give it up right now.
This article
That's why
from
we're
Colossus. Jerry Newman writing, the disruption is real. It's also predictable. All right. Let's take a break, and we shall get your picks of the week because we're going to get ready to wrap this up because Meta Connect is only about 45 minutes away, and we want to get some cacio e pepe in us before we buckle down to what will be replacing these. They've sold 2 million now of these Meta AI glasses from Ray-Ban.
How often do you wear them?
Never. Seriously. I wear them on the show. That's it.
That's it.
But I would be very interested if there was a heads-up display. The problem is it's from Meta. But they are way ahead of the game. No one else is coming even close. Google even said we're not working on
the
it.
issue is if they give you a heads-up display, that heads-up display will feature notifications you can't turn off that tell you when a brand you follow on Instagram is going live.
Yeah. That would be bad. I don't like that.
Not ideal.
You're watching Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau from Consumer Reports is with us. Paris.nyc is her website. Soon you will see her byline. Soon. Not the first time, but
Not
soon.
the first time, but soon we will discuss my byline on the show.
A major something or other coming
Something
your way.
or other.
The Nellie Bly of food.
Oh, I like it. Of food poisoning.
Yes.
Of radioactive shrimp.
That's true.
Jeff Jarvis is also here, professor of journalistic innovation emeritus from the City University of New York, now at Montclair State University, and SUNY Stony Brook, and the author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis magazine, The Web We Weave, many, many, many great books.
Hope you don't do it. Change quick. We got a contain us moment. There we go.
She's really trying. She's Catanus shy.
It's 4:20. She wanted to tell you something. She was saying it's 4:20, Mom. It's only 4:20 in California. Sorry.
She's like, it's
No wonder you want to go
7:21,
make dinner.
Mom.
It's 7:20. It's late there.
We're so weird.
Late there.
Yeah, I really did think it would be great to watch the Meta Connect at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday evening, but I was like, what if I sustain myself with food instead?
Okay, here's what I'm going to suggest. Just put the stream on. You don't have to participate. Just put the stream on. And if you have a thought, type it in somewhere, and I'll read
done
it
that
back.
often, yes.
Yeah. I'll say, hey, Paris is in the Discord. She says,
Are you still watching this,
food is
you idiots?"
delicious. Yeah, what's wrong with Mark? He looks dead.
I'll put a picture of my shrimp in the chat.
All
Are
right.
you eating, Paris, are you eating shrimp knowing everything you know?
Yes, I'm eating shrimp, but I probably would not instinctively order shrimp out just because, I don't know, I'm not normally ordering shrimp out. But if I'm buying frozen shrimp, I'm checking to see what country it's imported from and
she's a
staying away
smart
from
consumer.
Indonesian imported frozen shrimp, as that is where the source of potential radioactive contamination appears to have originated.
Do they harvest shrimp in Brooklyn or anywhere nearby like that?
Yeah, they get shrimp
Local
straight from the
shrimp.
Gowanus Canal.
Those are really radioactive.
May not be, yeah.
I
Radioactive.
prefer to get my own homegrown local radioactivity. I just think it's really important to me that I know where the radioactivity is coming from and that it's coming from a Superfund site nearby.
Gowanus Canal. We'll have more with Intelligent Machines in just a moment. Picks of the week. Let's start it off with the wonderful Paris Martineau.
My pick of the week is what I'm going to be doing instead of watching Meta Connect after I eat some food. It's a great RPG called Road Warden that is I've really been enjoying.
It's text-based.
It's
so
a
you're going to
text-based-
get this. You're going to get it. This is what we were talking about. This is great. It's not
I
a
am
mud.
basically, it's not a mud, but it's pretty close. It feels
Yeah.
like you are like in a mud, but there's no other people there. And it basically is almost like a D&D campaign, but written and in text. You can play it on Steam. I'm playing it on Steam Deck right now. It's delightful. You are a road warden in an unnamed peninsula, which is a kind of basically you are the one person trusted to go between settlements and kind of explore the great unknown and clear roads to make sure it's safe. And you've got to kind of decide what sort of road warden you want to be and how you want to shape the land you have a dominion over. And it's just been a really delightful, almost like sandbox-like experience to play in, which is a strange thing to say about a text-based RPG. But
I'm really
It's been so
impressed
fun.
that you're enjoying it, because I think I've always thought people of your generation are so, you grew up with really good graphics in games that a text-based game may not do it for you.
I ideally like my games to just be hidden books. That's my ideal form of game. And this is not hidden book. This is a game that is quite apparently a book. And it's been delightful. The writing's good.
Is there, you think, any AI writing in it, or do you think it's all human? You could tell.
It's definitely all human.
Yeah.
It's not algorithmic. And it's also, I believe, like a very indie operation. I'm trying to remember the name of the creator, but this is basically all he's done. He's thinking of he's planning on releasing an upcoming game called Windy Meadow, but that hasn't come out yet.
Nice.
But I've really enjoyed it. I've been looking for a new game like this for a bit and really fun. Speaking of bad graphics, though, a game I have been wanting to play, but I haven't because I'm scared of it, is called Mouthwashing. But it is well known because it has PS1 graphics, basically, despite being a 2024 released game. It's basically kind of like a dystopian game where you are on a delivery ship, like a spaceship in the future, that ends up being kind of forcibly crashed by your pilot for unknown reasons. It's kind of horror-like. You're trapped. You don't know if you're going to be rescued. And out of desperation, the employees decide to break into the cargo, even if it might mean they lose their jobs, being like, well, at least we've got food or something here. And it's all mouthwash. And so they start drinking mouthwash and going insane.
That's hysterical.
But the graphics are crazy.
That is crazy is right.
It's all PS1 style graphics, but in a really interesting modern way.
Wow.
PS1 is what I'm thinking of.
I have a Steam game I'm actually very interested in playing, but I haven't played yet. Did you ever play Minesweeper?
Yeah, of course.
So this is kind of like Minesweeper, but it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's programmatic. It's called Bomba, B-O-M-B-E. And, you know, I like the idea of coding and all that. The idea is instead of, as you do in Minesweeper, clicking to see, you know, where the mines are and so forth, this you make a rule and say, well, I'm gonna make this rule, and I think these will not be mines. You have to use logic to solve this.
Oh, this is how nerds play Minesweeper. That's actually how nerds play Minesweeper, right?
Yeah, well, you do in your head, don't you, really? You say, well, if I click this and that this is a mine and that's not a mine. And yeah, I mean, you do that, don't you? If you're playing like serious Minesweeper instead of just clicking the buttons to see what happens. Anyway, I'll tell you what.
Great.
I will play this and give you a report back. But I've been wanting to play this for some time. It's only $10, as is yours, right? It's inexpensive.
Yeah, I think it frequently goes in sale, and I got it for like $3.
Yeah. Very cool. Jeff, you never played computer games, did you?
I don't know. No.
Now, we're trying to get him to play Pentimento, I think, but
Pentiment, but he'll need a.
You're thinking of Pimento Loaf.
Pimento loaf. We're trying to get him to play this pimento loaf, but he keeps saying it's a piece of bread.
Jeff Jarvis, what do you have
for Paris? Because Paris is a big David Lynch fan of late. David Lynch's home in California is for sale.
Let's buy it. Let's make it the new Twit compound.
I'd love that.
How much is it selling for?
Probably an ungodly
15 million? Oh, well, never mind.
But it's 2.5 acres on Mulholland Drive.
It's made out of concrete, so it's going to last. It's on Mulholland Drive.
It's gorgeous inside, too.
Is it? Oh, look at this. What is that?
The theater room.
That's the edit bay.
That's the edit bay and studio. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
David Lynch is a big screen fan.
It's Frank Lloyd Wright designed it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Look at that.
Oh. David Lynch.
Ugh.
Who designed his hair? That's what I want to know.
God.
The Crow's Nest. A hilltop structure. This is beautiful.
Structure.
Look at this.
Delightful.
Oh, it wasn't Frank Lloyd Wright. It was his son, Eric Lloyd Wright.
They really buried the lead by just saying Lloyd Wright design.
It's a Lloyd Wright.
Look at his workshop. That's so cool.
Oh, man. Must be nice.
Is it empty if you buy it? If you buy it, is it empty?
Well, what are they going to do with it all? Leave it all there.
That's not concrete. Great. That's painted plaster to look like concrete.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Wow. Gray plaster.
A Venetian type plaster.
Wow. Look at this beautiful view. Oh. That is incredible.
His workshop.
What part of town is this in?
He's hoping the property will sell to a Lynch fan or a foundation or a museum that might want to keep it as is. It's possible a buyer would want to build a new home on the site, but no.
Being California, yeah.
No.
How dare they?
How dare they? Look at that. And is it on Mulholland Drive? It's where he did Mulholland Drive, but it's not on Mulholland Drive.
It's not on Mulholland Drive.
That would be too much.
I was wrong. Yes.
What a coinky dink that would be.
That would be, yes.
Not only is the movie called Mulholland Drive, he lives there. Good picks. Good picks, everyone. Good picks. Stay tuned. My pick for you is our Meta Connect coverage. We will be going to Mountain View. It's a live stream. I hope they're streaming it. You know, I didn't even ask. We think they're streaming it. If they are, Jeff and I will talk along. Otherwise,
I just got a message from CNN wanting to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. So who knows?
Go do that.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
That's fine. And I will just sit here all alone talking about
with your glasses,
with my Meta glasses, taking pictures. Thank you, Paris Martineau. Wonderful to see you. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. Just a reminder, I've mentioned this to you guys. I was going to be on vacation for the next 3 weeks. I am not, because our house has a big hole in it. And somebody has to guard the hole to keep the riffraff out. So I will be here for the next 3 weeks. I will miss one twit in a couple of weeks because I am going to go back east to visit my mom and to have a prime rib roast beef French dip delicious thing for my son, Samo.
We're going to have a great time.
Although I have no guarantee that he's going to be there. I said, I'm going to be out. Will you be there? He said, yeah, probably.
No guarantees.
Our friends Renee Ritchie and Luria Petrucci went out last weekend, and he wasn't there because he was doing a festival. So you never know. He's a big shot now. He's a big shot. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. Thank you, Paris Martineau. Thanks to all of you who join us. We do the Intelligent Machines every Wednesday, right after Windows Weekly, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us do it live. We stream it in the Discord for our club members. Thank you, club members, for your support. We really appreciate it. We also stream it on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, and Kick. So there's plenty of places to watch live. You don't have to. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show, audio and video, are on our website, twit.tv/IM. You can also go to the YouTube channel. Great way to share clips with friends and family. So, everybody can see YouTube. So if there's a little thing you liked and you want to say, oh, there's this new game Paris was talking about, and you want to share that with them, just go to that YouTube and clip it there. Otherwise, the best thing to do is subscribe in your favorite podcast client. Pick one. Doesn't matter what you use, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Apple's podcast, but whatever one you use, subscribe, and then it's free. Leave us a 5-star review saying how much you love the show. And if you make it clever, if you make it creative, perhaps Paris Martineau will read it on the air next week. Next week, our guest, Stephen Levy, legendary tech journalist, will talk about AI. He writes for Wired, the magazine, and the Anthropic decision and why he's going to take the money and run. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. And the rest of you, stay tuned. Meta Connect is coming up.